Chapter 270. The return of the heroes. However, after Wang Bai's reminder, Yi Fei remembered that he still had a large amount of royal jelly. Although it couldn't increase one's cultivation, it had the same effect as a martial king. Yi Fei immediately took out the royal jelly. This is the royal jelly of the ancient demon king. Seeing Yi Fei take out a large beehive, Feng Xinyang was shocked and her eyes turned red. Yi Fei could understand Feng Xinyang's feelings. After all, when a woman heard about something that could preserve one's youth, it would be strange if she didn't go crazy. Especially for someone like Feng Xinyang who had reached a certain age, this kind of thing was even more desirable. Xinyang, since you like it, then this bucket is for you. Yi Fei smiled and handed over a beehive to Feng Xinyang. After thinking for a while, he simply took out 5 heaven-level pills and gave them all to Feng Xinyang. This action gave Feng Xinyang a fright. Whether it was the royal jelly of the ancient demon bees or the heaven-level pills, they were all luxuries that Feng Xinyang couldn't even imagine in the eastern Siwu province. In the end, Yi Fei didn't even blink an eye and gave them all to her. Feng Xinyang's eyes suddenly turned red. She looked at Yi Fei with incomparable gratitude and said, "Now this servant knows why that old thing Tsing Fan risked his life to help you protect your family, Yi. Thank you, master." Feng Xinyang's happy expression was almost the same as Wang Bai's. She didn't care much about the heaven-level jade blood pill, but hugged the bucket of royal jelly tightly. She immediately sat down cross-legged and began to absorb the energy of the royal jelly. Seeing this, Yi Fei was sweating profusely. Is this necessary? I didn't expect the royal jelly's magic power to be so great. It's not just great. Brother Fei, you don't know. I heard that the top 10 inner disciples, Yang Xiao, also got a large amount of royal jelly and attracted many female disciples to ask for it. Luo Shi told him what the spiritual eagle on his shoulder had heard. Speaking of today's inner disciples, there were 3 things that were the most popular. Firstly, Huang Shu failed to frame Yi Fei. Instead, he was banned from entering the mission hall for life. It was said that after Huang Shi left, he was so angry that he cursed at the air for 2 hours. After that, he directly went to the peak of the true inheritors and cried to his elder sister. The second hot topic was Yi Fei and Ma Zai's extravagant actions at the auction. Not only did they make a huge amount of money, but they also caused Ma Zai to suffer a huge loss. Just like Huang Shu, he would never be able to step into an auction again. The last hot news was that Yang Xiao carried a large amount of royal jelly and publicly announced to the inner sanctum that any senior and junior sisters who wanted the royal jelly could talk to him and get the royal jelly. If he didn't have the time, he could let him touch her. At this point, Luo Shi's expression became extremely strange. This was because 2 of the 3 major events that shook the inner sect were also caused by Yi Fei. Even the last event seemed to have something to do with Yi Fei. After hearing Luo Shi's words, Yi Fei's face couldn't be any darker. He cursed together with Wang Bai, "Yang Xiao, that bitch." Yi Fei was simply speechless at Yang Xiao's actions. Wang Bai was unhappy that his handsome brother's limelight had been stolen by someone else. Wang Bai immediately stretched out his hand to Yi Fei and said, "Brother, give me 10 buckets first. I'll also go and meet that Yang Xiao and Luo Shi. Also, let that bird fly out and help me spread the word that I also have a large amount of royal jelly here. No matter if it's inner or outer sanctum junior sisters, they can come and get it. However, it must be under the age of 18. If it's over that age, then there's no need to come." As the inner sect competition gradually approached, the entire inner sect became lively. It wasn't just Yi Fei and Yang Xiao who were celebrating. In a fire pool somewhere in the outer sect, Gu Man sat in it and let the raging fire burn his body. Gu Man's body turned red and black, then black and then burnt. This kind of pain was enough to make any warrior with a strong mental state collapse. However, Gu Man had persisted in there for a full 100 days. Not only had his body not been burned to a crisp by the fire, but as his flesh and blood were destroyed and reborn, a faint and desolate aura had appeared on Gu Man's body. Seeing this scene, Elder Xianemo was so happy that she let out a long laugh. She waved her hands and encouraged Gu Man. Gu Man, hold on. There are 8 more days. In 8 more days, your barbarian body bloodline will be completely awakened. Even if you can't reach the level of the ancient barbarian body, your physical defense will be 10 times stronger than before. I'm very optimistic that you'll pass the intersect exam, enter the intersect, and participate in the intersect competition. This time, I, Gu Man, won't lose again. I'm the prince of the barbarians. One day, I'll become the king of the barbarians and stand at the peak of this world. Yi Fei, just you wait. Green hills and clear waters. Standing aloof from worldly affairs. This was the deepest part of the intersect, on a majestic mountain peak. On the mountain peak sat an old man with one eye. The old man's eyes were turbid, but his chi was like a treasured blade that could be unsheathed at any time, killing enemies from 1,000 miles away. At that moment, the old man was watching a heroic black-robed young man practice his blade. After watching for a total of 6 hours, the old man was unable to find any flaws, nor did he need any pointers. The old man was extremely satisfied. He nodded his head towards the black-robed young man who was keeping his blade and asked, Yen Bei, how long have you been learning the blade under me? Reporting to master, it's been 10 years. The black-robed young man's body was tall and straight, his eyes releasing a ray of light. It was obviously the eye blade that he had comprehended after training his blade techniques to the extreme. Seeing that, the old man was even more satisfied. He nodded his head and said, 10 years, I have nothing else to teach you. Go down the mountain. This time, I'll make an exception and let you participate in the Mountain River List competition. If you don't get into the top 10, don't come back to see me. Haha, top 10, master, your words are laughable. In the entire intersect, other than Jing Wushou, that pervert, I fear. In the entire intersect, who can stop me? This time, my goal is not to be in the top 10, but to be number 1. Bang! The shocking saber intent tore through the sky and shattered the clouds. Even the old man was shocked. 40% saber intent. As expected of a super genius with a saber body. Yen Bei, go ahead and do it. This low-grade artifact, the Yenling saber, will help you win. After the old man finished speaking, he threw out a treasure blade and stabbed it deeply into the rock he was sitting on. He then took a few steps, as though he was ascending a staircase. Step by step, he walked into the cloud. And at the same time that the old man disappeared, a rumbling sound suddenly resonated throughout the entire Tai Xian city. 3,000 tiger guards, riding on flood dragon horses, wearing cold steel helmets and waving flags, escorted a young man from the royal family and quickly entered the city. The young man's face was like jade and his eyebrows were thick. His entire body was filled with a terrifying murderous aura. Behind him, there was a dead dragon that was hung high on the flagpole, causing many martial arts grandmasters to feel a chill in their hearts. The 10th prince has arrived, all unrelated people, leave immediately. The 3,000 tiger guards shouted together, their voices shaking the clouds. The terrifying killing intent shook a few martial grandmaster realm elders, their faces changing color, but they had no choice but to leave. And in the middle of the road there was a person, carrying a heavy stone lock. One step at a time, with great difficulty, he walked towards Tai Xian's sacred lands, constantly moving, ignoring the 10th prince and the 3,000 tiger guards who were quickly approaching him. Chapter 271. The 8th level of the Martial Grandmaster Realm Boom. The huge stone lock was waved, causing the void to emit a sharp screech. The dragon horse he was riding was of course smashed into a pile of mud. Even the Wu Zong general who was waving the whip fell off the horse pathetically. The momentum of the 3,000 tigers suddenly stagnated, and then a strong murderous aura gathered on the young man with the stone lock like a whirlwind and cold lightning. The 10th prince was also surprised. When he saw the man with the stone lock in the middle of the road, he became a little wary. He stopped his men and stepped forward. "It's Shifeng. I didn't expect you to come back. I heard that you went to the polar region of the North Sea to train. Is this the result of your training?" Looking at the heavy stone lock on Shifeng, the 10th prince was a little puzzled. Shifeng looked at the 10th prince coldly and did not speak. He just dragged the heavy stone lock and continued to move toward the entrance of the small world of the Holy Land. "10th prince, this Shifeng is too arrogant. He actually dares to ignore you and block our path," the injured Wu Zong general angrily said as he crawled up from the ground. A touch of displeasure flashed in the 10th prince's eyes, and then he shook his head. "Forget it. Shifeng is not wrong. We have come back too brightly this time. You should know that there is always someone better than you. You can leave now. I will return to the Holy Land by myself. Soldiers, you have worked hard. We swear allegiance to the 10th prince. The 10th prince has won the first battle. He will definitely be first in the inter-sect grand competition." The 3,000 tigers roared again, and their voices shook Taishan City. Then, led by several generals, they quickly left. Many of the aristocratic families in Taishan City were also shocked. Speaking of which, the kingdom of Taiwu has been getting stronger and stronger recently. These 3,000 tigers alone are enough to destroy many countries. That's right. The 10th prince is the strongest genius of the kingdom of Taiwu. He has not yet joined the Holy Land, but he has already been valued by a powerful elder in the inner sect. Maybe the 10th prince can really take first place in the inner sect grand competition this time. First place in the competition, huh? Hearing this, Shifeng, who was walking in front, sneered. He did not look back. He just dragged the heavy stone lock and continued to move forward. The time spent together was always short. As the inter-sect grand competition approached, other than Wang Bai, who was leisurely strolling around, Yi Fei and Luo Shi had to do their best for the upcoming inter-sect grand competition. Participating in such a tournament would not only allow one to encounter a large number of experts, but it was also said that the higher one's ranking was, the more generous the rewards one would receive. Of course, Yi Fei would not miss the opportunity to obtain a large amount of cultivation resources. After the reunion, Yi Fei arranged Feng Xinyang's residence and returned to his room. The first thing he did was to take out the earth-fire essence that he had obtained from the auction. That was a red, flame-like liquid. It was scalding hot to the touch, and one could even see astonishing spiritual energy. Along with the heat, it spread into the air. Just taking a breath of the air was enough to make one feel warm all over. The indestructible sword soul in his body became restless, as if it wanted to devour the earth-fire essence in one gulp. As expected of the earth-fire essence. Even if I had to spend 40,000 contribution points, it would be worth it. Yi Fei sighed. He would not let the indestructible sword soul absorb the earth-fire essence so easily. He was prepared to use such a treasure to increase his own strength. Yi Fei was currently at the 7th level of the martial ancestor realm. With such a speed of improvement, he was considered outstanding among the ordinary inner sect disciples. But compared to the top 10 inner sect disciples, he was still lacking. For example, Lin Sun and Yang Xiao, who were around the same age as Yi Fei. But their strength was already at the 10th level of the martial ancestor realm. After a period of closed-door training, the two of them had a high possibility of breaking through to the half-step martial ancestor realm. But even so, the two of them were only ranked 9th and 10th in the Mountain River list. Then the geniuses in front of them would have terrifying realms and strength. Seems like in this period of time, I have to quickly raise my cultivation. Not to mention the half-step martial ancestor realm, the 10th level of the martial ancestor realm is still possible. Only then can I fight with the top 10 experts of the Mountain River list. Yi Fei made up his mind. When he took out the earth fire essence, he took out another item, the blood jade golden lotus. He had obtained it by chance in the Seven Treasures forest. The blood jade golden lotus itself was not much, but if he could use the earth fire essence to accelerate its ripening, the blood jade golden lotus would be like the 100-year dragon fruit. It could help martial artists break through realms quickly. The only difference was that the 100-year dragon fruit was only effective for martial masters. But the combination of the blood jade golden lotus and the earth fire essence was very effective for martial ancestor realm expert. He carefully took out the blood jade golden lotus and placed it on top of the earth fire essence. The blood jade golden lotus suddenly released a blood red light barrier, absorbing all of the earth fire essence's energy. Now is the time. Seeing that the blood jade golden lotus had already started to absorb the earth fire essence and was starting to grow, Yi Fei did not dare to delay. He immediately focused all of his attention and used the method he learned from Yang Xiao to accelerate the ripening of the blood jade golden lotus. 2 hours, 4 hours, 6 hours. The blood jade golden lotus's growth is really slow. If this goes on, the true essence in my body might not be able to support it. Yi Fei felt helpless. It was easy to convert spirit qi into true essence, but to convert true essence into higher-grade spirit qi, the consumption was extremely high. Even with the Devil Emperor scripture, after accelerating the ripening for 6 hours, Yi Fei felt that he could not take it anymore. Luckily, he was rich and overbearing. Realizing that his true essence was not enough, Yi Fei quickly took out a large number of spirit crystals from his spatial bag. As he absorbed them, he continued to accelerate the ripening of the spirit herbs. 3 days passed very quickly. Boom! After absorbing the earth fire essence and sufficient spirit qi, the blood light shield of the blood jade golden lotus suddenly cracked. Then, a blood-colored lotus bloomed, filled with a mysterious beauty. As Yi Fei continued to transfer spirit qi, the blood jade golden lotus bloomed brighter and brighter. Finally, in the middle of the flower, a red gem-like lotus seed appeared. This is the one. After consuming it, I will be able to break through the bottleneck of the martial way and increase my cultivation level. Without hesitation, Yi Fei picked up the lotus seed and placed it in his mouth. Boom! The moment the lotus seed entered his mouth, it melted into a warm current that flowed into Yi Fei's limbs and bones. Yi Fei could even clearly feel that his bones, flesh, and blood were cleansed by this warm current. Large amounts of impurities were melted and turned into a black substance that was expelled from his body. At the same time, Yi Fei's dantian became exceptionally full. It was filled with a shocking amount of energy, and his dantian became more and more swollen. Finally, with a loud boom, it was as if a dam that had accumulated a large amount of water had suddenly collapsed. Everything happened naturally. Yi Fei had broken through to martial ancestor realm 8. However, Yi Fei was not satisfied with this. It could even be said that he was extremely disappointed. Why is it only martial ancestor realm 8? With this bit of strength, it won't even be enough to fill the gaps between the teeth of others during the inter-sect grand competition. No, I must continue to break through. Chapter 272. Chapter 272. The date of the great competition. Therefore, Yi Fei began to cultivate crazily in the following days. This was also the first time since he joined the Holy Land that he had truly gone into closed-door cultivation. Taking advantage of this time, he finally had some time to clean up the chaotic true essence in his body. Although the sky-swallowing style is powerful, it's a pity that compared to the undying sword soul, the sky-swallowing style swallows Zhen Yuan with chaotic attribute. The reason why I haven't been able to break through quickly is not only because of the quality of my dantian, but also because of the large amount of chaotic Zhen Yuan in my body. After all, different cultivation techniques would result in different quintessential essence attribute. For example, the Devil Emperor Sutra that Yi Fei cultivated had a quintessential essence attribute that leaned towards the tyrannical side of the Devil Tao. However, it was impossible for the people killed by the sky-swallowing move to cultivate the Devil Emperor Sutra. The quintessential essence that entered Yi Fei's body was definitely different. In a short period of time, a large amount of quintessential essence had helped Yi Fei quickly break through. However, when quintessential essence of different attributes accumulated to a certain extent, it would also make it more difficult for Yi Fei to break through to a higher realm. It seems like cultivators should focus on cultivating one type of true essence, which will allow them to break through realms faster. That's what it means to get rid of the impurities and retain the essence. Every cultivation technique and martial skill has a weakness. Even the great Emperor sword art is no exception. It's no wonder that the Devil Emperor chose to create his own devouring sword intent after obtaining the heaven-devouring style. Then, there was a problem. If the Demon Emperor could comprehend his own devouring sword intent from the devouring sky style, what kind of sword intent could Yi Fei comprehend? Yi Fei could not help but feel a headache coming on. He revealed a bitter smile. Indeed, on the path of a cultivator, the higher one goes, the more insignificant one feels. With my current strength, there is no need to think about creating an original sword intent. However, if I make the best use of my time and refine all the impurities in my body, it should not be a problem. Boom. Closing his eyes, Yi Fei began to madly cultivate the Demon Imperial Sutra. This time, however, he did not use it to raise his cultivation base or break through. He purely used the Demon Imperial Sutra to forcefully expel all the impurities in his body. During this process, Yi Fei also gained a deeper understanding of the Demon Imperial Sutra's power. As expected of a martial art cultivated by an emperor, the Devil Emperor is truly a genius. It turns out that the Devil Emperor has already considered the flaws of the devouring sky style. This Devil Emperor scripture is an emperor-level cultivation technique created by the Devil Emperor to counter the devouring sky style. The more Yi Fei cultivated the Demon Emperor Sutra, the more he could feel how profound the Demon Emperor's comprehension of the martial way and the heaven-devouring style was. As it turned out, he didn't need to expel all the various kinds of true essence from his body. That would not only reduce Yi Fei's own true essence, but in the worst case, it might even cause his cultivation to drop. In response to this situation, the Demon Emperor had clearly provided the best solution in the Demon Emperor Sutra, which was to use the tyrannical power of the Demon Emperor Sutra to suppress the heterogeneous true yuan. Then, he would use the devouring will of the martial way to gradually devour all of the heterogeneous true essence and convert it using the Devil Emperor Sutra. This way, Yi Fei would not have to worry about the different types of quintessential essence clashing with each other. He could even convert the heterogeneous quintessential essence into the pure quintessential essence required by the Devil Emperor Sutra. Not only would it not affect his strength, but he could also use the quintessential essence to quickly break through his bottleneck. So that's how it is. The Devil Emperor's Sutra is indeed wonderful. I'm really stupid. Why didn't I think of it before? It's all the fault of this cheap master of the Devil Emperor. He didn't even warn me about such an important hidden danger. Yi Fei patted his head hard, as if he had just realized something. Of course, Yi Fei also knew that he couldn't blame the Demon Emperor. As long as he cultivated seriously for a period of time, he would be able to comprehend these questions on his own, without any guidance. It was just that Yi Fei had always had a lot of things to do. He had never had the chance to cultivate in seclusion like now. Thus, it was only now that Yi Fei understood the true essence of the Devil Emperor's Sutra. Since he had found the key to resolving the heterogeneous quintessential essence, it was in the Devil Emperor's Sutra. Immediately, Yi Fei activated the Devil Emperor's Sutra again. At the same time, he used his comprehension of the will of devouring to frantically devour and refine the heterogeneous quintessential essence in his body. Just like that, another 10 days passed. Boom. Yi Fei, who was cultivating, felt his dantian suddenly tremble. It was like a black hole had already converted all the heterogeneous quintessential essence into the quintessential essence required by the Devil Emperor's Sutra. When all this conversion was completed, Yi Fei immediately felt the quintessential essence in his body start to condense to a high degree. In the end, it seemed like it was going to form a spiraling cyclone in his dantian. Yi Fei could not help but reveal a look of pleasant surprise. It's actually about to condense into a cyclone. Doesn't that mean that, if I work a little harder, I might be able to break through to the 10th layer martial ancestor realm? Yi Fei successfully refined the heterogeneous quintessential essence in his body and resolved the bottleneck of his breakthrough. The rich quintessential essence easily broke through his own martial Dao barrier, allowing him to reach the 9th layer martial ancestor realm. However, after reaching this level, Yi Fei did not intend to continue breaking through. More haste, less speed. Even though he could still rely on the medicinal pills in his hand to continue breaking through quickly, the foundation of a cultivator was important. However, when it came to cultivation, one's cultivation level was important. The foundation was even more important. If one kept relying on external forces to break through, it would cause one's foundation to be unstable. In the best-case scenario, one might suffer from cultivation deviation. In the worst-case scenario, it would increase the difficulty of breaking through to the next realm. I'll take a break for now and continue breaking through. There is still some time before the inner sect grand competition. I can make use of this time to stabilize my foundation while cultivating that Tian-ranked fist technique. 7 Murderous Fist. This was the Tian-ranked martial art that Yi Fei had obtained at the auction. It was said that this martial art was the core fist technique of the ancient sect, the 7-kill sect. It was a heaven-ranked high-grade martial art. In the entire sacred land, it was considered a rare martial art. This was also the reason why Qi Chuchu and Ma Zai wanted to compete for it. It was different from the present. In the ancient era, sects were flourishing. There were countless powerful sections. Even the current sacred land was a part of the ancient sects that had broken away from the ancient sections. The sacred land itself had only inherited a small portion of the essence of the ancient sections. Yi Fei had also heard that outside of the Tianwu continent, the ancient sects had not disappeared. They had always existed. Only the geniuses of the entire continent could join such a place. Now that Yi Fei was fortunate enough to come across a martial art from an ancient sect, he naturally would not miss this opportunity. He had to properly study it and increase his own combat trump cards. Time flew by quickly as Yi Fei continuously studied the 7-kill fist. In the blink of an eye, more than 10 days had passed. On this day, a loud bell suddenly rang throughout the entire Taishan sacred land. It rang throughout the entire inner sect and outer sect. This sound wave even penetrated the small world of the sacred land and shook all of Taishan city. All the disciples who were still cultivating were startled awake. The elders of the inner and outer sect who heard the bell were also shocked. The inner sect grand competition is starting so soon? Yi Fei also woke up from his cultivation. He smiled bitterly and cursed himself for forgetting the time. He had actually forgotten that his Devourer's sword had been destroyed. Without the Devourer's sword, his swordsmanship would be greatly reduced. At that time, how could he participate in the competition? Could he rely on the 7-kill fist that he had just learned? Chapter 273. Mountain River lists the bell of the Holy Land was not rung easily. Every time the bell rang, there were only 2 possibilities. The first was that the Holy Land was facing a huge crisis. The second was that the Holy Land was about to hold a grand ceremony. But no matter what it was, as a disciple, the first thing they did when they heard the bell ring was to immediately rush to the place where the bell rang, gather, and wait for the elder's orders. Although he was a little depressed, Yi Fei could only give up on the idea of finding a good sword at the last minute. Anyway, Let's go and participate in the first round of the inner disciple competition first. There were many inner disciples in the Sanctum of Sages, and it would take a lot of time and effort to judge them one by one. Furthermore, the elders of the Sanctum of Sages didn't have the time and energy to judge them one-on-one. Therefore, before the start of the Inner Disciple Grand Competition, all the disciples who wanted to participate in the competition would receive a notice that detailed the rules of the competition and various things to take note of. For example, when the bell rang, the participating disciples must immediately rush to the Holy Land's competition venue to register and draw lot. The inter-sect competition was also divided into 2 rounds. The first was the arena free-for-all, which was open to all inter-sect disciples, and the second was the one-on-one ranking battle, which only the top 10 disciples could participate in. Yi Fei unfurled his golden rock wings and flew in the direction of the inter-sect grand competition as he recalled the things he needed to take note of in his mind. Looking over, the sky was filled with the figures of inner disciples flapping their true chi wings as they hurried on their way. The true chi wings of various colors were dazzling to the eyes. This was especially true for the female disciples. Their true chi wings were so beautiful and complicated that they dazzled Yi Fei. However, although these people's true chi wings are beautiful, most of them are just flashy and impractical. There are only a few disciples who truly possess flying martial skills. In terms of speed, there are even fewer disciples who can match my golden rock wings. As Yi Fei rushed towards the location of the large competition, he secretly compared himself to the inner disciples around him. Perhaps they would encounter each other in the arena. Screech! Suddenly, the cry of an eagle was heard. It pierced through the clouds and instantly spread its wings. It flew to Yi Fei's side. "Ha, Brother Fei, it seems that your strength has improved greatly after being in seclusion for over a month." Only then did Yi Fei realize that this bird-headed, eagle-winged fellow in front of him was actually Luo Shi. The ability of his acquired beast body was that he could fuse with all kinds of spirit beasts and possess all kinds of divine abilities of spirit beasts. It was very magical and, of course, extremely powerful. If he fused with Luo Shi and became a divine beast, Luo Shi would immediately possess the ability of a divine beast to destroy heaven and earth. From this, it could be seen that the Luo family that Luo Shi belonged to was no ordinary family. "Luo Shi, is this the Hotian beast body you've cultivated? Why does it look like a birdman or a demonic beast?" Zhao Yu flew over, and the air was filled with a faint fragrance that made people feel relaxed and happy. Unfortunately, Zhao Yu's words were too lethal. Not only was Yi Fei speechless, Luo Shi was so hurt that he almost fell from the sky. "Princess, this is because the spiritual eagle and I are still too weak. If the spiritual eagle can grow to the level of a divine beast, then I won't be a birdman, but a god." Luo Shi's body surged with a strong sense of confidence. However, soon after, his confidence suffered a terrible blow. Zhao Yu did not say anything, but very accidentally revealed that he was a 10th-level martial ancestor realm. Luo Shi's pride turned into deep grief and indignation. 10th-level martial ancestor realm. The two of you are really monstrous. Zhao Yu's strength was a huge blow to Luo Shi's confidence. Yi Fei also looked at Zhao Yu in shock. He remembered correctly that Zhao Yu was only a 5th-level martial ancestor realm when he returned to the Sacred Land. In just a month, Zhao Yu had advanced to the 10th-level martial ancestor realm. Originally, Yi Fei had thought that breaking through 2 levels in a month was already very incredible. Indeed, the martial world did not lack geniuses. Compared to those real monstrous geniuses, we still have a long way to go. Yi Fei consoled Luo Shi, and at the same time, he was consoling himself. "Cut it out, you two monstrous geniuses. How is this consoling? It's clearly a blow." Luo Shi looked sad. Zhao Yu couldn't help but smile. Obviously, after hanging out with Yi Fei for a long time, this cold princess also had a bit of the charm of the mortal world. By the way, where is Wang Bai? Zhao Yu thought of Wang Bai, who often claimed to be the most handsome person in the world. She had gone into seclusion the moment she returned and did not know Wang Bai's exact situation. Luo Shi was depressed when he heard this. Yi Fei was also speechless. They could not possibly tell Zhao Yu that Wang Bai had not cultivated during this time and had gone to take care of the beauty industry. The first to arrive must be the inner sect disciples. Wang Bai might be rushing over with the outer sect disciples. Yi Fei speculated. Wang Bai is already here. I heard him talking to a few outer sect disciples. Luo Shi's ears twitched as if he could hear voices very far away. This shocked Yi Fei and Zhao Yu. The two of them subconsciously turned back to look. The outer sect disciples who had arrived first were all blurry black dots. They could not see their faces clearly, let alone hear what they were saying. However, not only could Luo Shi hear them, he could also see them. Disregarding everything else, just this ability alone was enough to shock many elders. Yi Fei realized that although Luo Shi's starting point was very low, if Luo Shi could continue to grow, his achievements might not be inferior to those true prodigies. Luo Shi, well done. It seems that I have underestimated your acquired beast body. Yi Fei was secretly happy for Luo Shi. As they chatted along the way, the three of them arrived at the location of the inner sect grand competition. It was a huge square that could hold more than 100,000 people. In the middle, there were hundreds of arenas. Yi Fei knew that these arenas were where the inner sect disciples would fight. Looking past these arenas, at the end of the square, there was a huge list. At the bottom of the list, there was a surging river. Above the river, there was a huge mountain peak. The front of the mountain peak was cut off by an expert, revealing the smooth surface of the mountain. On the mountain peak, there was an array engraved with golden dazzling names. Yi Fei knew that this was Tai Xian's Sacred Lands Mountain River list. Anyone who was on the list would be groomed by the Sacred Lands, and would obtain unimaginable benefits. As though he had noticed the many disciples looking at the mountain river sect with fervent gazes, a red-robed elder stepped in the air and came in front of the mountain river list. He waved his hand. On the mountain peak, all the golden words disappeared, leaving behind a blank space that caused people to gasp for breath. The mountain river list has appeared. All participating disciples, please step forward and register your name. Time is limited. Anyone who is not on the list will be disqualified. Shua. No one retreated. The entire 3,000 inner sect disciples, other than those who were not strong, no one was willing to retreat. A total of 2,000 disciples stepped forward. The scene was spectacular. Chapter 274. Chapter 274. Petty people get in the way. Very good. I will now announce the competition's rewards. Mountain River List Rank 1, reward 100,000 contribution points. A Heaven Tier Upper Level Martial Art. The reward for second place is 90,000 contribution points and a Heaven Tier Medial Grade Martial Art. The reward for third place is 80,000 contribution points and a Heaven Class Low-Grade Martial Art. Third and fourth place will be rewarded with 70,000 contribution points and a high-grade Spirit Ore. Fifth to 10th place will be rewarded with 50,000 contribution points and one middle-grade Spirit Ore. The red-robed elder spoke expressionlessly about the rewards for entering the Mountain River list, one by one. Every time he said one, all of the disciples present would exclaim in surprise, even the older disciples who had participated in the Mountain River list a few times were no exception. Truly, the rewards for the Mountain River list were too generous. Just the 100,000 contribution points for first place was enough to make anyone jealous. Such wealth was already the savings of several generations of the super families of Taishan City. Even many of the elders in the inner sect would need to spend 3 to 5 years to obtain so many contribution points. But now they didn't have to do anything. All they had to do was participate in the competition, and they could obtain such a huge amount of wealth. How could they not be excited? No wonder in the inner sect, when they talk about the mountain river list, everyone is so excited. So becoming an expert of the mountain river list has so many rewards. The sacred lands are truly rich and overbearing, to actually be able to take out so many spirit ores as rewards. In the next battle, I must go all out. Yi Fei secretly encouraged himself. He wasn't the only one thinking this way. Seeing such a generous reward, even the calmest person would blush and feel their heart warm up. The match had not yet begun, but a surge of battle intent had already filled the entire square. Seeing that the effect was achieved, the red-robed elder did not say much and immediately announced, "Everyone is clear about the rules. The first round will be a free-for-all. All disciples will come forward and draw lot. As for whether you can draw a good lot, that will depend on your own luck." Boom, 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 boom. The red-robed elder left after he finished speaking. Clearly, as a high-level elder of the Holy Land, he was only responsible for the opening of the inner disciple grand competition. He was not in charge of the specific matters. Instead, 100 black-robed martial honorable realm elders appeared in the sky in an orderly manner. They then landed on the arena that they had chosen. They were the judges of the competition. Who won and who lost, as well as the records of the scores, were all decided by these elders. Yi Fei and the other disciples, under the guidance of many inner court deacons, began to line up and draw lots. Yi Fei, number 55. Good luck. Yi Fei took the lot he had drawn and nodded politely. Just as he was about to turn around and leave, someone behind him deliberately bumped into Yi Fei, trying to knock Yi Fei down. "Huang Shu, what are you doing?" With a sidestep, Yi Fei had already dodged Huang Shu's sneak attack. This made Huang Shu very unhappy. He originally wanted to take advantage of the fact that there were many people here to humiliate Yi Fei. In the end, it was as if Yi Fei had eyes on the back of his head. He was able to dodge such a subtle move. Huang Shu immediately flew into a rage out of humiliation. When enemies met, their eyes would turn red. However, this was the venue of the inner disciple grand competition, and there were elders everywhere watching. No matter how arrogant Huang Shu was, he did not dare to use force. He could only scold angrily, "What are you doing? I saw a piece of trash and it greatly affected my mood. Yi Fei, you better pray that you are not in the same arena as me in this competition. Indeed, you are despicable and your bones are despicable. The last time I gave you a slap, you were not satisfied. Could it be that you are looking forward to seeing me give you another slap in the arena? Since you are willing to be despicable, I don't mind." Yi Fei sneered and walked away. During the period when his dantian was crippled, Yi Fei had experienced such ridicule countless times. If Huang Shu thought that he could be ridiculed like this, then he was truly looking for a beating. With just a few words, Yi Fei was able to scold a rich second generation like Huang Xie. Many of the nearby inner sect disciples were also looking at Huang Xie with strange gazes. Some of them were even discussing in low voices. "It can't be. Someone actually dares to provoke a spoiled brat like Huang Shu? I heard that he was even slapped. Haha, well done." I heard that Huang Shu was not satisfied with the slap and took the initiative to ask for another slap. Roar. The discussions of the surrounding disciples made Huang Shu unable to show his face. He had originally come to humiliate Yi Fei, but in the end, he was humiliated by Yi Fei in front of everyone. Huang Shu was so angry that smoke was coming out of his nostrils. He looked at the disciple closest to him and strode forward. He pointed at his nose and scolded, "F***ck, what are you laughing at? Do you believe that I can make you unable to stay in the inner disciple sect with just one word? Get lost. Huang Shu, he's just a piece of trash. Why are you so angry?" Ma Zai looked at the departing Yi Fei. After asking the elder in charge of drawing lots for Yi Fei, he slowly walked over. Seeing Ma Zai walk over, Huang Shu was filled with anger. He pointed at Ma Zai and scolded, Ma Zai, you are not a good person either. You asked me to help you deal with Yi Fei, but in the end, you stayed out of it. You deserve to be kicked out of the auction. Ha! Huang Shu deliberately laughed. This time, he had finally succeeded in humiliating Ma Zai. Being kicked out of the auction by Yi Fei, and not being allowed to enter again for the rest of his life, was definitely a pain that Ma Zai could not bear. Hearing Huang Shu mention it, Ma Zai's face turned extremely ugly. Helplessly looking at Huang Shu's back, Ma Zai could only hold back his anger and say to Huang Shu, Huang Shu, you are still too impulsive. There are so many stages in the grand competition. Just the number of disciples participating in the competition is more than 2,000. The chances of us encountering him in the arena are too small. If I can't, can you? Ma Zai, you usually have a lot of ideas. If you can help me deal with that piece of trash, we can still be good friends. Huang Shu said happily. When he was happy, he could treat Ma Zai as a friend. When he was unhappy, he would insult Ma Zai. Clearly, being Huang Shu's friend was a test of his tolerance. At the very least, when Ma Zai heard this, his face unconsciously twitched. However, Ma Zai did not reject Huang Shu's friendship. He immediately put his arm around Huang Shu's shoulder and made up with him. Haha, Huang Shu, just watch. That Yi Fei does not know his place. He dares to offend us, so we will definitely not let him off. After mending his relationship with Huang Shu, Ma Zai suddenly raised his voice and directly announced, all the disciples in the top 100 of the Mountain River list, listen up, I am Ma Zai, the third-ranked disciple in the inner sect. Now I am extremely unhappy with a new disciple called Yi Fei. As long as anyone can meet him on the stage, and injure him heavily, they will be able to obtain my friendship, and also the gratitude of 10,000 contribution points. Bang! Ma Zai's words were earth-shattering, causing many of the inner sect disciples to be shaken. Even though they knew that Ma Zai and Yi Fei had conflicts, but no one would have thought that Ma Zai would be so brazen. In front of the clan elders, he openly made things difficult for Yi Fei. He even directly requested for the top 100 experts of the Mountain River list to work together against Yi Fei. Chapter 275. Death Group. Ma Zai's words startled many of the black-robed elders present. They began to inquire about this matter. Who is that new disciple called Yi Fei? How did he offend Ma Zai? Senior brothers, don't you know? This Yi Fei is extremely arrogant in the inner sect. He's just a mediocre first-grade Earth-class disciple. I don't know how he managed to curry favor with the Sword Peak and obtained the Sword Token. After that, he started to act impudently. Not only did he forbid my disciple, Ma Zai, from entering the auction house for the rest of his life, he even forbade Huang Xie from entering the mission hall. Ma Zai's master stood up and started to speak up for Ma Zai. This elder didn't say anything bad about Ma Zai, but specifically picked on Yi Fei. Many of the elders were furious when they heard that Yi Fei's talent was only Earth Grade 1, yet he had continuously framed 2 top 10 inner sect experts, greatly affecting their future. How did this Yi Fei manage to enter the inner sect? Such an arrogant person is the shame of the inner sect. No wonder no one is willing to accept him as a disciple. Humph, a mediocre D grade 1 talent. Even if he begs this old man will not accept him. To think that he dares to affect the future of a genius like Ma Zai. This Yi Fei is simply a black sheep. Usually, when it came to conflicts between inner disciples, the elders would try to stop them. However, it was different this time. Once they heard that Yi Fei's talent was so mediocre, and that he was causing trouble everywhere, even framing 2 of the top 10 inner disciples, the elders immediately lost all goodwill towards Yi Fei. As for Ma Zai and Huang Xie, even though they were arrogant and despotic in the inner sect, their talents were still very shocking. Huang Xie's Dantian was a 6th grade D class, and Ma Zai wasn't bad either. Although he only had a 5th grade Dantian, Ma Zai also had a special physique, the spiritual body. Although the spiritual body was the weakest among all the special body constitutions, it was still a special body constitution. In the future, it was very likely that the spiritual body would break through to the martial king realm. Of course, the elders would not offend a future martial king realm expert for a disciple who actively caused trouble. He simply pretended not to hear it. The elders' indifferent attitude greatly encouraged Huang Shu and Ma Zai's arrogance. Ma Zai smiled proudly. He felt that he had finally gotten his revenge for being chased out of the auction by Yi Fei. Huang Shu was still very dissatisfied. Ma Zai had gotten his revenge, but he still had a huge debt to settle with Yi Fei. Seeing that Ma Zai had spoken, no elder spoke up to stop him. Huang Shu felt that he had gone too easy on Yi Fei, so he immediately added in a loud voice, "Senior brothers and junior brothers, listen up. I, Huang Shu, also find a certain piece of trash an eyesore. In the arena, whoever can cripple Yi Fei will receive my friendship and the gratitude of 40,000 contribution points." Boom! Huang Shu's words caused many of the inner sect experts to be shocked. Yi Fei had offended Ma Zai, and Ma Zai had made it so that Yi Fei would never be able to enter the Mountain River list. Everyone could understand, but Huang Shu's methods were too vicious. He actually wanted to cripple Yi Fei, causing many disciples to look at Yi Fei with sympathy. In the inner sect, everyone knew that they could offend anyone, but they could not offend Huang Shu, the second-generation ancestor. For Yi Fei to offend Huang Shu, wasn't he seeking his own death? Of course, there were also a few disciples who looked at Yi Fei fiercely. After all, whoever could defeat Yi Fei would not only receive Huang Shu and Ma Zai's friendship, they would also receive 50,000 contribution points. That was 50,000 contribution points. A few of the Mountain River list experts had obvious greed in their eyes. You guys are too much. Zhao Yu could not take it anymore. He wanted to stand out and help Yi Fei. Lin Sun and Yang Xiao, who were not far away, were also restless. Don't be rash. Yi Fei shook his head at Zhao Yu, and then gave Lin Sun and Yang Xiao a look. Lin Sun and Yang Xiao already understood that Yi Fei could settle the matter himself, and did not need their help. Although Zhao Yu was a newcomer to the inner sect, but with her beauty, many of the inner sect disciples had already treated Zhao Yu as their goddess. In the end, their goddess actually stood out for Yi Fei, and Yi Fei even displayed a timid look. Many of the disciples present felt uncomfortable. Many of the inner sect experts were also extremely unhappy. Adding the allure of the 50,000 contribution point, a few of the Mountain River list experts who were tempted immediately asked each other, "What stage is Yi Fei at? If we can meet him, we will have profited greatly." Haha, everyone, you guys will not have that chance. Yi Fei has drawn the 55th stage, which is coincidentally the stage that I am at. His hands and feet and the 50,000 contribution points, I, Gong Sun Long, will not be courteous and keep them. Suddenly, a sharp voice came out from the crowd. A short figure with a sallow complexion had already appeared on the 55th arena. It was just that because he was too short, no one had noticed him just now. Yi Fei, get up here. Grandpa Gong Sun will now teach you how to conduct yourself in the inner sect. Gong Sun Long was short, but his entire body was emitting a terrifying cold intent. His sinister voice caused many disciples to feel a chill down their spines. Huang Shu and Ma Zai were also startled. They did not expect Yi Fei to meet the 11th-ranked Gong Sun Long in the first round, and they all laughed out loud. The surrounding disciples all looked at Yi Fei with sympathetic eyes, secretly sighing and shaking their heads. This Yi Fei is truly unlucky to meet Gong Sun Long in the first round. He is the 11th-ranked expert. It is not just Gong Sun Long. Look, the 5th-ranked Shifeng seems to be at the 55th stage too. That can't be right. Gong Sun Long is already enough, but Shifeng is actually that perverted person. He is also at the 55th stage. This is truly a group of death. All the disciples who were at the 55th stage were all dejected. Luo Shi also looked at Yi Fei nervously. "Brother Fei, your group is too scary, are you alright?" "Ah." Yi Fei suddenly laughed out loud, and patted Luo Shi's shoulder. Yi Fei leaped up, and jumped onto the 55th stage, and pointed at Gong Sun Long and scolded. "You are just a shorty, I did not want to bully you, but since you are looking for death, and want to be someone else's dog, then you are not fit to stand and talk to me. I will give you 3 breaths of time, kneel down and talk to me." Bang! Yi Fei's words were arrogant, tyrannical, and did not leave any face for Gong Sun Long. His eyes filled with contempt and arrogance. It caused all the clan elders to raise their eyebrows, and many of the disciples were scared out of their wits. Who in the inner sect did not know that Gong Sun Long hated it when people called him short? Anyone who said that would only have one outcome, and that was to be tortured to death by Gong Sun Long. Now Yi Fei had pointed out Gong Sun Long's flaw in front of everyone, and actually wanted the 11th ranked expert to kneel down and talk. How arrogant was that, how disdainful. Chapter 276. The First Battle. Yi Fei die. Roar. Gong Sun Long rushed towards Yi Fei furiously without saying a word. Due to the flaws in his cultivation method, he had been ugly and short since he was young. This caused Gong Sun Long to develop an inferiority complex and a violent personality. Anyone who said that he was short would be tortured to death by him. Even if someone said the same word in front of him, Gong Sun Long would be enraged immediately. There was once an inner disciple who accidentally sighed in front of Gong Sun Long. It was because of that sound that Gong Sun Long was so angry that he tore that disciple apart on the spot. This showed how violent Gong Sun Long's personality was. Now, not only did Yi Fei say that Gong Sun Long was short, he even asked Gong Sun Long to kneel down. As soon as these words left his mouth, Gong Sun Long's violent side was triggered to the peak. A terrifying killing intent covered the sky. It was even scarier than the demon sect disciples of the Dark Sky cult that Yi Fei had encountered. Who knew how many people Gong Sun Long had killed? Before the referee elder could react, Gong Sun Long had already made his move. Ghost-rending palm. Around the arena there was a terrifying shriek. Immediately, these shrieks turned into layers of claw shadows that tore through the air and dug towards Yi Fei's vital points. At the same time, Gong Sun Long's short body moved quickly like a gopher. The entire arena was filled with blurry phantoms. They were like layers of phantoms that covered the sky and the earth. They surrounded Yi Fei. The surrounding disciples were also shocked. Not good. This is the heaven-class lower-tier ghost-rending palm. It is also Gong Sun Long's most vicious martial art. Yi Fei, you are finished. I will tear apart anyone who says that I am short. I will dig out your eyes, cut out your tongue, and crush every bone in your body. Gong Sun Long's sinister laughter came from the endless afterimages. Instantly, 2 ghostly claws silently dug towards Yi Fei's face. That feeling was definitely more terrifying than seeing a ghost in the middle of the night. Yi Fei smiled coldly. Although he sympathized with Gong Sun Long's situation, Yi Fei was still disgusted by his cruel methods. The battle demon golden body was instantly activated. Facing the sky full of ghosts, Yi Fei did not evade or attack. He only made one movement. He raised his leg and took a step forward. Boom! Xiao Chen took a heavy step forward, letting Gong Sun Long's countless ghost-ripping hands tear at his body, no matter how hard or how fast they tore. Yi Fei was like a golden war demon, walking through the world and ignoring all obstacles. At the same time, he had withstood Gong Sun Long's attack. Yi Fei's astonishing psychic senses allowed him to instantly capture the location of Gong Sun Long's true body among the afterimages. I told you to kneel down and talk, you shorty, didn't you hear me? Boom! Xiao Chen's hand, which was harder than gold, grabbed Gong Sun Long. The afterimages in the sky disappeared instantly. Gong Sun Long was horrified to find that his neck was tightly grabbed by the hand. Suddenly, he felt that the world was spinning again. Facing Gong Sun Long, who was smaller than a child, Yi Fei did not even have the interest to torture him. The moment Xiao Qin grabbed Gong Sun Long, he activated the Devil Emperor scripture and slammed Gong Sun Long's body onto the ground. The entire arena started to shake violently. Half of Gong Sun Long's body had been planted into the hard ground by Yi Fei, unable to move. Only his eyes, which were like those of a gopher, looked at Yi Fei in horror. "Don't hit me, I was wrong, I won't dare to do it again, woo-woo-woo." His cruel side was completely crushed by Yi Fei's violence. Gong Sun Long's extremely inferior side was revealed again. Before Yi Fei could continue attacking, Gong Sun Long was so frightened that he started to cry. Yi Fei was depressed. He ignored Gong Sun Long and turned to walk down the arena. At this moment, Gong Sun Long, who had been crying loudly, suddenly had a savage and cruel look in his eyes. His entire body, which had already shattered the arena, charged towards Yi Fei at lightning speed. The sharp green dagger was aimed at Yi Fei's back. "Yi Fei, Grandpa Gong Sun will take your life today." Clang! Gong Sun Long used all his strength to stab Yi Fei's body. Yi Fei's body did not move at all. Even his skin was not pierced. "Do you think that I won't be on guard against people like you?" Yi Fei turned around coldly and smiled coldly at Gong Sun Long. The moment Gong Sun Long made his move, Yi Fei also made his move. He did not hold back and snatched the green dagger. Then, he quickly stabbed Gong Sun Long in all 4 directions. He had already stabbed 4 deep bloody holes in Gong Sun Long's hands and feet. "Gong Sun Long, do you think that you are acting pitiful? In my eyes you are not pitiful. You are sad and hateful. You, Ma Zai, and Huang Shu are all no match for me. You are just the most ridiculous clowns." Puff! The last dagger stabbed into Gong Sun Long's shoulder. Yi Fei directly threw Gong Sun Long, who was covered in blood and had fainted from the pain, out of the arena. He also threw Gong Sun Long to Huang Shu and Ma Zai's feet. They did not participate in the competition in their respective arenas. Instead, they had been waiting here. They wanted to see Yi Fei being cruelly beaten by Gong Sun Long. However, the result was undoubtedly shocking to everyone. Yi Fei's War Demon's golden body was too terrifying. Even a supreme-grade Xian weapon could not pierce through Yi Fei's defense. Huang Shu's face turned pale in an instant. Only then did he know that the previous 2 times he was beaten up by Yi Fei was not unjust. Ma Zai's face also changed. Although he had confidence in breaking Yi Fei's golden body defense, but Yi Fei's display of talent. Without a doubt, Ma Zai's plan had failed again. Not only was he unable to stop Yi Fei from entering the Mountain River list, and with Yi Fei's display of strength, it was more than enough for him to enter the top 10 of the inner sect. Of course, the prerequisite was that Yi Fei could defeat Shi Feng. Thinking about that, Ma Zai subconsciously looked at Shi Feng and said, "Shi Feng, are you willing to help me to deal with this Yi Fei?" "Ma Zai, you do not have the qualifications to order me." Shi Feng carried the heavy metal chains on his back. He did not even look at Ma Zai. From start to finish, Shi Feng's gaze was only on one person, and that was Yi Fei. "Your physical body's defense is very strong," Shi Feng said with certainty. "It's a pity that it's not strong enough." Yi Fei sighed. His gaze was fixated on Shi Feng. From this person, he could sense a qi that was more dangerous than Yang Xiao and Lin Sun combined. Shi Feng nodded his head, then shook his head. Suddenly, he carried the heavy stone chains and walked up the stage. "Yi Fei, come up, let's fight." "Shi Feng, this is not appropriate. Your opponent now is not Yi Fei," the elder in charge of the referee said helplessly. "Qi." Unfortunately, before the black-robed elder could finish, the heavy stone chains suddenly smashed towards him. The elder was caught off guard. His chest felt as though it had smashed into a mountain. His bones shattered as he spat out blood and flew out of the stage. Chapter 277. A clash between the strong. Not only was the black-gowned elder beaten by Shifeng until he vomited blood and fell off the stage, he was even publicly called trash by Shifeng. This elder was immediately enraged. He rushed onto the stage with soaring anger, pointed at Shifeng and roared. However, before he could finish roaring, Shifeng's reply was as simple, direct and berserk as before. Boom! Another stone lock smashed over. If that elder had not dodged quickly, he would likely have been smashed off the stage by Shifeng's stone lock again. This was definitely the black-gowned elder's most humiliating day. As both an elder and a referee, he was beaten up by a disciple. Furthermore, he had no one to seek justice for himself. In the world of martial cultivators, the strong were revered. Even if the person before him was an elder, his strength was inferior to Shifeng's. Being beaten up could only be considered his bad luck. After all, this elder's strength was only that of a half-step martial saint. However, from this, Yi Fei could tell that there were not many martial saint experts in the Holy Land. At the very most, there would not be more than 100. As for martial kings above the martial saint realm, they were even rarer. Shifeng, as a disciple, you dare to beat up an elder like me. Are you not afraid that I will disqualify you from the competition? The black-gowned elder felt that he had lost a great deal of face. However, he no longer dared to fight against Shifeng. Only, he was still unwilling to admit defeat verbally. Shifeng looked at this elder coldly. As an elder, you do not know how to protect your disciple. You dare to speak to me like that? Just these words caused that elder's face to fill with shame. Indeed, when Gongsun long disregarded the rules and directly challenged Yi Fei, he was afraid of offending Ma Zai and Huang Shu. Thus, he had deliberately pretended not to see it. It was only at this moment that Yi Fei realized that Shifeng had suddenly attacked the elder because he did not like this elder's conduct. He could not help but have a good impression of Shifeng in his heart. Many thanks, Yi Fei cupped his hands at Shifeng. I am not helping you. I am only letting you know the strength of my stone lock. Are you certain that you can withstand it? If you withdraw now, I will not blame you. Shifeng glanced at Yi Fei's cultivation level. He was only in the 9th tier of the martial arts grandmaster realm. He suddenly felt a little dispirited. It was a kind of loneliness that came from a lack of opponent. Yi Fei was not angry after hearing this. He knew that Shifeng was indeed qualified to look down on him. Just by the fact that Shifeng was able to injure a half-martial highness elder with a single attack, Yi Fei understood how terrifying Shifeng's strength was. However, it was precisely because he understood Shifeng's strength that Yi Fei felt the excitement of encountering a strong opponent. This was his personality. The stronger he met, the stronger he became. Shifeng's strength greatly stimulated Yi Fei's fighting spirit. He did not retreat. Instead, he took large strides forward and walked towards the center of the stage. He cupped his hands towards Shifeng and said, "Please advise me." "All right." Shifeng didn't say much. As he opened his mouth, the heavy stone lock whizzed through the air like a moving mountain and headed straight for Yi Fei. Once he made his move, it was earth-shattering. That was Shifeng. Yi Fei immediately felt the blood in his body boiling. He could clearly see that the stone lock was not Shifeng's true strength. Shifeng was just feigning an attack to test Yi Fei's strength. If Yi Fei could not even block Shifeng's stone lock, then he was not fit to be Shifeng's opponent. Demonic Battle Golden Body. Understanding that, Yi Fei bellowed and activated the Devil Emperor's scripture. Just like how Shifeng wanted to test him, how could he not want to witness the true strength of the 5th ranker of the Mountain River list? Bang! The stone lock tore through the air. Like a heavy mountain, it struck Yi Fei's body. Yi Fei's body stood tall and straight. His chi was as sharp as a sword, causing waves of sword whistles. Many of the outer court disciples present had to firmly hold onto the hilts of their swords in order to prevent the swords on their bodies from being attracted to the arena by Yi Fei's sword intent. And this was under the condition that Yi Fei did not have a sword in his hands. Sword intent? So your strongest point is not your physical defense, but your sword. Then I will force you to use your sword. Shi Feng's calm face finally revealed a trace of emotion. Just as the stone lock smashed out, another stone lock came at an even faster speed, smashing towards Yi Fei's two sides. The power was enough to shatter a mountain. Many of the martial master disciples present had fear in their eyes when they saw this. This kind of stone lock attack was too heavy and too terrifying. No wonder the half-step martial honorable black-robed elder was unable to block it. Good timing. The weight is not bad, but it's a pity that my demonic battle golden body is not that easy to break. Under the watchful eyes of the crowd, Yi Fei ignored the two stone locks that were approaching him. He continued to move forward, one step at a time, each step heavier than the previous. He was accumulating his strength, preparing to block the two stone locks. He wanted to see how strong the two stone locks were. In the next second, the two stone locks heavily smashed onto Yi Fei's body, causing Yi Fei's body to shine with a golden light. The entire stage shook violently. However, Yi Fei was unharmed. The demonic battle golden body had successfully blocked Shi Feng's two consecutive stone locks. This scene also shocked countless disciples who were watching the battle. Gasps could be heard everywhere. Even Shi Feng, who is ranked 5th on the Mountain River list, could not break through Yi Fei's defense. How strong is his defense? What's the rush? Shi Feng is just testing the waters. He has not used his true killing technique yet. However, this Yi Fei, as a newcomer, is able to block two of Shi Feng's attacks. Even if he loses, he should be proud of himself. The surrounding disciples were discussing. The elders nearby all looked over. It was the first time they were sizing up Yi Fei. You are very strong. Shi Feng's face changed completely. He was excited to meet his match. However, I am going to use my full strength now. I hope that you can continue to be this strong. Mountain river shattering, stone locks in the sky. Rumble. Shi Feng kept the two stone locks. But following that, around his body, another 9 stone locks appeared, forming a mountain peak that moved quickly. One after another, they quickly smashed onto Yi Fei. Yi Fei's face congealed. He knew that Shi Feng was starting to get serious. This was definitely Shi Feng's full-strength attack. If he could not block it, not only would he lose to Shi Feng, he would also lose the qualifications to continue participating in the intersect competition. I have not even entered the top 10, and I have already fallen. This I will not allow. Yi Fei's face was filled with determination. He immediately activated the Devil Emperor Sutra. His body suddenly blossomed with a blazing golden light. It was as though a golden sun was revolving around his body. Then Yi Fei took a step forward. Puffing out his chest, he charged towards Shi Feng. He did not have a sword. To win against Shi Feng, he had to get close to him. Shi Feng could see that too. His gaze turned cold, and a look of ridicule flashed past his eyes. He was not anxious to attack, but asked, "Without drawing your sword, you want to get close to me? Aren't you being too confident? Watch me break your golden body defense." Chapter 278. 7 killing fists, 6 stone locks, each one as heavy as a mountain, heavily smashed down. That kind of power was enough to make one's heart tremble, and also cause one's courage to shatter. Even with the battle demon golden body, Yi Fei could feel his body emitting teeth-numbing creaking sounds as cracks started to appear on his golden body. 6 stone locks was the limit that Yi Fei could endure at the moment. No matter how strong the war demon golden body was, there would still be a limit. If he broke through this limit, Yi Fei would be injured or even killed. Of course, in the eyes of outsiders, Yi Fei was able to withstand 6 stone locks from Shi Feng and still be fine. His physical defense could no longer be described as abnormal. It was simply terrifying. Ma Zai's and Huang Shu's expressions changed. Previously, Ma Zai was still confident that he could break through Yi Fei's golden body. However, after seeing Yi Fei withstand Shi Feng's 6 stone locks and continue to advance, his confidence was no longer sufficient. The only thing that comforted Ma Zai was that 6 stone locks was already Yi Fei's limit. Shi Feng still had 3 stone locks that he hadn't used yet. Yi Fei's defensive golden body will definitely be broken by the 7th stone lock. Yi Fei will be seriously injured by the 8th stone lock. Yi Fei will definitely be smashed into a pulp by the 9th stone lock. He's finished. This is the end for him in the inner sect grand competition. Ma Zai and Huang Shu laughed maniacally as they left this place in advance. They rushed to their respective arenas and began to participate in the competition. Many people also shook their heads and prepared to disperse. They believed that the moment Yi Fei's golden body shattered would be the moment of Yi Fei's defeat. Yi Fei also felt the pressure, but fortunately, after resisting for so long, he finally broke through Shi Feng's stone lock and successfully occupied the best position to attack. However, in the face of Yi Fei's approach, Shi Feng was very calm. He asked curiously, "Aren't you going to draw your sword?" Shi Feng had a habit. He hoped that all of his opponents would use their full strength. That way, he would be able to achieve more after defeating them. Now that he saw that Yi Fei was not drawing his sword, Shi Feng was not in a hurry to defeat Yi Fei. "I hope you'll do your best," Shi Feng said seriously. "I've done my best, but I don't use my sword." Yi Fei laughed bitterly. If he knew that in the first round of competition, he would continuously meet experts from the Mountain River list, he would have prepared a good sword earlier. It was a pity that a good sword was hard to find. A good sword that could withstand the double pressure of the Devil Emperor's Sutra and the extraterrestrial divine fire was even harder to find. However, what Yi Fei did not expect was that when his words fell into the ears of others, it sounded very strange. "What do you mean you don't use a sword? Your strongest weapon is clearly the sword, all right?" Since he was still unwilling to draw his sword, there could only be one reason for that. "This Yi Fei is too arrogant, too arrogant." Facing Shi Feng, he actually did not draw his sword. Don't tell me, even Shi Feng is unable to force him to use his full strength? This Yi Fei is truly arrogant. The discussions of the spectating disciples made Yi Fei extremely gloomy. They had completely misunderstood his words. Helpless, he did not have the chance to explain himself. Shi Feng's face had already revealed a look of anger. "Yi Fei, you are truly arrogant. Even 6 stone locks cannot force you to draw your sword. What about 7, 8, 9? Boom! Boom! A total of 9 stone locks swept across the sky and smashed towards Yi Fei. In truth, when the 7th stone lock smashed down, Yi Fei knew that his war demon golden body would not be able to block it. When he saw the 8th and 9th stone lock smashing down, if he was unable to block it, he would most likely be smashed into meat paste. Other than regretting that he did not prepare a good sword in advance, Yi Fei did not dare to be careless. He fiercely executed the 7-kill fist that he had just learned. After all, this fist technique was an upper heaven class martial art. It should be able to block the remaining 3 stone locks of Shi Feng's attack. Kill. Suddenly, a fierce murderous aura emerged from Yi Fei's body. Following which, this murderous aura formed 2 blood-red vortexes that appeared above Yi Fei's fist. 7-kill fist. Boom. 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 Yi Fei did not stop moving. He threw out 3 consecutive punches, forming 3 blood-red fist shadows that heavily smashed against the last 3 stone locks of Shi Feng's attack. Crack! In an instant, Yi Fei's fist smashed a deep crack into one of the stone locks. The power of a heaven-class martial art was evident. However, at the same time, Yi Fei also suffered a huge impact from the stone lock. The war demon golden body on his body was instantly shattered. However, using this opportunity, Yi Fei successfully smashed open the 8th stone lock. What? The disciples who were about to leave were once again shocked by the battle in the arena. However, before they could recover from their shock, the sky suddenly darkened. The 9th stone lock was as big as a mountain. With a huge force, it smashed down heavily. The entire arena could not withstand the heavy pressure and was torn apart. Countless disciples were also shocked by this scene. Could it be that Yi Fei was smashed into a meat patty just like that? A heaven-class martial art and the speed of the golden rock wings. Yi Fei, is this why you don't draw your sword? Then you can lose. Shi Feng did not look at the arena. Instead, he raised his head and the 9 stone locks rose from the ground and smashed into the sky. Only now did people realize that Yi Fei had actually used the speed of the great Peng wings to avoid the 9th stone lock's attack in the nick of time. It's a pity that just relying on speed is not enough. I can't use my sword. Unless I can cultivate the 7-kill fist to the great circle, I will be able to fight against Shi Feng. Even though he had escaped, Yi Fei was still unsatisfied. He could not fail. If he could not even enter the top 10 of the Mountain River list, how could he enter the Star Moon Holy Land and bring his sister back? Bang! Without thinking, Shi Feng's 9 stone locks had already risen from the ground like a mountain, once again surrounding Yi Fei and smashing towards Yi Fei from different directions. An unprecedented crisis. But under such a crisis, Yi Fei did not feel fear, but excitement and an intense fighting intent. His mind was clear like never before. Suddenly, an extremely bold thought entered his mind. Since he did not have the time to cultivate the 7-kill fist to the great circle, then why could he not continue to comprehend the 7-kill fist while fighting? That's right. That's the only way I can win now. Yi Fei's heart hardened. Although the idea was crazy, it was not impossible for him to succeed. The indestructible sword spirit's black energy could increase his comprehension limitlessly. That was what Yi Fei was relying on. Kill. With killing intent in my heart, I can form a fist with a thought. The 7-kill fist are heaven kill, earth kill, man kill, ghost kill, heaven kill, yin-yang kill, ghost god kill. Thinking about it, relying on the indestructible sword spirit to increase his comprehension, Yi Fei immediately split his attention. On one hand, he relied on the speed of the golden rock wings to dodge the stone locks in the sky, and on the other hand, he quickly continued to comprehend the 7-kill fist. The clamor in the arena instantly disappeared. Under the limitless increase in comprehension, Yi Fei quickly entered a state of cultivation where he forgot about himself. As for the stone locks controlled by Shi Feng, they became Yi Fei's best targets to attack. Bang! 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 Chapter 279. Breaking Through in Battle, 7-Killing Fist. Boom! 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 After entering a state of oblivion, Yi Fei even forgot that he was still in the arena, fighting a bitter battle with Shi Feng. Suddenly, 3 fist shadows appeared on his fist and continuously smashed towards the stone locks flying towards him. Immediately, 3 stone locks were sent flying by Yi Fei. However, there were still 6 stone locks flying towards Yi Fei. At this moment, Yi Fei's right fist also smashed out. Another 3 stone locks were smashed out by Yi Fei. In this way, Yi Fei had already dealt with 6 of Shi Feng's 9 stone locks. The remaining 3 were nothing to worry about. When using the 7-killing fist, Yi Fei activated the battle demon golden body once again. He completely ignored the heavy impact of the 3 stone locks and strode forward. He punched out once again. This time, it was a continuous punch filled with intense killing intent. However, this time, it was not 3 fist shadows, but a total of 4 fist shadows. They formed 4 terrifying blasts of air and smashed toward Shi Feng. Yi Fei, is this your final trump card? So the heaven level upper level 7 killing fist has finally fallen into your hands. Unfortunately, if you had cultivated it to perfection earlier, you might have been able to break through my stone lock. Unfortunately, with only 4 fist shadows, you won't be able to break through my stone lock. Iron Lock River. After fighting for a long time, Shi Feng couldn't help but become a little impatient. The 9 stone locks floating around him suddenly lined up in a row and pushed towards Yi Fei with an overwhelming aura. Since he couldn't lock onto Yi Fei's rapidly moving figure, Shi Feng decided to use his strongest attack, enveloping the entire arena. In this way, no matter where Yi Fei dodged, he wouldn't be able to avoid the impact of his stone lock. As long as one stone lock successfully hit Yi Fei, Shi Feng would have a way to smash the other 8 stone locks onto Yi Fei, causing Yi Fei to suffer a crushing defeat. Kill. However, to everyone's surprise this time, Yi Fei did not dodge or hide. Instead, he executed the 7 killing fists with both hands. Suddenly, he boldly charged towards Shi Feng's stone lock. Boom! A shocking scene appeared. Yi Fei's fist had forcefully suppressed Shi Feng's stone lock and then fiercely pushed it back. It was like a stone being thrown into a giant wave. Shi Feng suddenly felt the true essence within his body surge and his aura become chaotic. However, Yi Fei's injuries were even more serious. In the end, Shi Feng was a half-step martial saint. The stone lock in his hand was even more mysterious and unpredictable. Although Yi Fei had cleverly used Shi Feng's stone lock to break the Iron Lock River, he was unable to do so. But at the same time, Yi Fei also felt an extremely violent wave of true essence slamming into Yi Fei's body. The war demon golden body shattered once again. The corner of Yi Fei's mouth was also bleeding, but Yi Fei still did not retreat. His eyes were red as he continued to move forward. He secretly separated a small amount of black energy and poured it into his body. Boom! The blood in his body immediately started to boil and burn. Raging flames appeared on Yi Fei's body. However, these raging flames were only used subconsciously by Yi Fei to deceive others. Most of his consciousness was still immersed in the crazy comprehension of the 7 killing fists. Under Shi Feng's pressure, the number of fist images quickly broke through to the level of 4. According to the requirements of the 7 killing fists, this level already belonged to the small mastery realm. However, Yi Fei was still not satisfied. What he needed was not the small mastery realm, but the large mastery realm. It would be best if he could reach the large mastery realm. Only then would he be able to defeat Shi Feng without using a sword technique. It's still not enough. I want to become stronger. I want the 7 killing fists to become even stronger. Kill, 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 kill. 7 killing cries came out of Yi Fei's mouth. Under the cover of the raging flames, Yi Fei's injured body quickly recovered. The battle demon golden body appeared once again. Just like that, Yi Fei endured the terrifying stone chains that filled the sky and continued to use the 7 killing fists that he had already repeated many times. Under the enhancement of the Undying Sword Soul's comprehension ability, as well as Shi Feng's powerful pressure, Yi Fei's mind became clearer and swifter than ever before. The more he was injured, the more danger he was in. When Yi Fei performed the 7 kills fist for the 10th time, every move and style was imprinted in Yi Fei's mind. He constantly deduced them and transformed them into his own strength. Of course, during this process, Yi Fei was attacked by the stone chains countless times. The battle demon golden body had already shattered countless times. If it were anyone else, they would have been crushed by Shi Feng's stone chains. However, Yi Fei was still persevering. Even if his body was in pain and his bones were about to fall apart, as long as he still had one breath left, he would not admit defeat. Kill. Another deep roar came out of Yi Fei's mouth. He could no longer remember how many stone chains he had smashed away. His fist was covered in blood and one could almost see the white bones of his fingers. However, Yi Fei still did not turn his head. Instead, he felt the pressure on his body gradually weaken. Yi Fei, who had entered the state of selflessness, did not realize that in this one-sided battle, his 7 killing fists had already broken through at an astonishing speed. 4 shadows, 5 shadows, 6 shadows. At the highest level of 7 kills, one could strike out 7 fist shadows at once, creating a 7-fold attack. At this time, in just a short hour of battle, Yi Fei had already completed a level of martial arts that many martial artists would need to spend months or even years to achieve. The spectating disciples were all shocked. Shi Feng's face also revealed a look of disbelief. He is actually using my pressure to comprehend the 7 killing fists. This lunatic. Is he trying to cultivate the beginner's 7 killing fists to the great circle in such a short period of time? If it were anyone else, Shi Feng would never believe it. However, when he saw Yi Fei cultivate the 7 killing fists from 3 shadows to 6 shadows in just an hour, Shi Feng felt a sense of dread. He didn't know why, but a feeling of dread appeared in Shi Feng's heart. The comprehension ability Yi Fei displayed was too terrifying. Shi Feng's expression finally changed. The relaxed expression on his face was no longer present. Instead, as Yi Fei's breakthroughs became faster and faster, his expression gradually became incomparably grave. Yi Fei, I will definitely not let you break through to the great circle of the 7 killing fists. I admit that it won't be long before you have the ability to fight with me. However, the current you does not have the ability to defeat me. You can be defeated now. Shi Feng enunciated each word clearly. The stone chains that were flying towards Yi Fei were all retracted. Every stone chain was stained with Yi Fei's blood. However, Yi Fei did not care. He was still immersed in cultivating the 7 killing fists. He had a feeling that he was about to comprehend the final essence of the 7 killing fists. 9 peaks colliding sun. Chapter 280. When killing intent soars to the heavens, the mountain formed by the 9 layers of stone locks instantly fell from the sky. The pressure caused the entire arena to creak, unable to bear the weight. The spectating disciples all turned pale. They knew that Shi Feng was going to use his full strength this time. The half-step martial honorable elder in charge of refereeing had a shocked expression on his face. Under the aura of the stone lock, he actually felt an enormous fear. That was the fear of death. After shouting, "Oh no!" that elder even forgot about his responsibility as a referee and hurriedly fled the arena with his fastest speed. In the middle of the stone locks, Yi Fei was still brandishing his fists. As his fists deepened, he had already forgotten that he was in the arena and that he was still fighting Shi Feng. The limitless increase in comprehension had not only caused Yi Fei to enter a state where he forgot about everything around him, but he had also gone one step further and entered a special state of invincibility. In this state, Yi Fei executed the 7 murderous fists faster and faster, and he became more and more familiar with them. He seemed to have seen a light in the darkness, and also seemed to have seen a fine law. That's right, it was a law. Every martial technique had its own law, just like every weapon had its own martial intent. As long as Yi Fei came into contact with the law of the martial technique, he would be able to reach a higher level and instantly upgrade the 7 murderous fists to the great perfection stage. It's actually invincible without self. Bastard, who was the one who said that Yi Fei was a mediocre Earth Grade 1 martial artist? Even if his talent is mediocre, his comprehension is definitely at the level of a demon. In the distant sky, the red-robed elder who was in charge of the competition suddenly became angry at the group of black-robed elders who were flattering him. It turned out that he had actually been observing Yi Fei, watching the battle between Yi Fei and Shi Feng. The surrounding black-robed elders were also stunned. Based on the information displayed on Yi Fei's identity medallion, they had arbitrarily determined that Yi Fei was a good-for-nothing, a mediocre person with some special techniques. However, Yi Fei had used this mediocre method to forcefully cultivate a heaven-grade martial technique from beginner to expert in an extremely short period of time in front of everyone. Now, he had even entered the state of invincibility that every martial artist dreamed of. This state was already infinitely close to enlightenment in martial technique. And to be able to reach this state of enlightenment, regardless of the quality of one's dantian, was a true demon that was 1 in 10,000. The funny thing was that many elders actually mocked Yi Fei's mediocre talent and that he was not worthy of their attention. Boom, boom, boom. Hearing the explosive sound of the fist tearing through the air, many elders felt their faces burning. It was a very unpleasant feeling. The red-robed elder couldn't care less about teaching these people a lesson. His gaze was completely focused on Yi Fei. At the same time, he also noticed that Shi Feng was about to land on the 9-stone lock. Not good. Shi Feng's attack is too terrifying. Although Yi Fei's comprehension is amazing and he has entered the state of invincibility, unless he can instantly cultivate the 7 killing fists to perfection, Yi Fei will definitely die after taking Shi Feng's attack. Whoosh! As soon as he finished speaking, the red-robed elder had already rushed to the arena, wanting to stop Shi Feng from continuing. The other black-robed elders laughed disdainfully when they heard this. 9 Peaks Colliding Sun is Shi Feng's strongest attack. Even a martial honor would feel a great pressure when facing the 9-stone lock. At this time, Yi Fei would be lucky to survive. How could he possibly have the time to cultivate the 7 killing fists to perfection? However, we really misjudged him. Who would have thought that Yi Fei's comprehension would not lose to those legendary demons even though his talent is mediocre? It's useless no matter how good his comprehension is. If he doesn't raise the quality of his dantian to Earth Grade 5 or above, the chances of him breaking through to Martial King in the future are extremely slim. However, for those below Martial King, his combat strength is still very shocking. Look, he's going to lose. Many of the elders turned their gazes to the 55th arena. The red-robed elder rushed over with all his might, wanting to stop the fight. However, he was one step too late. Rumble! The 9 stone locks fell like a mountain, creating huge lightning and fire as they collided with the void. Shi Feng's expression was cold as he launched his strongest attack. Yi Fei, why aren't you drawing your sword? Shi Feng shouted one last time. He was giving Yi Fei one last chance. If Yi Fei did not draw his sword, his stone locks would definitely smash Yi Fei into a serious injury. Boom! Yi Fei did not reply. He was still immersed in the state of invincibility. The moment the stone locks fell, Yi Fei suddenly opened his eyes. I understand now. This is the real 7 killing fists, the 7 killing heavens and earth. Yi Fei punched out again. There was no afterimage of the fist. It was just an ordinary punch. It was real as he gently punched the sky. The entire sky suddenly seemed to collapse, and a huge hole appeared. Boundless scarlet light burst out from Yi Fei's body. It formed a beam of light surging with killing intent that soared into the clouds. The first stone lock instantly shattered. Then, the second, third, fourth, fifth. Yi Fei's punch soared into the sky. It was filled with killing intent and battle intent. He actually shattered 5 of Shi Feng's stone locks. If it weren't for Shi Feng's quick reaction and his extreme speed of retrieving the remaining stone locks, with the might of Yi Fei's punch, he would definitely have been able to shatter all 9 stone locks. How is this possible? Shi Feng's expression changed. It was filled with intense fear and shock. He could not accept the fact that Yi Fei actually managed to cultivate the 7 killing fists to perfection under pressure. This kid, what a terrifying perception. If no one accepts him as a disciple, then this old man wants him. The red-robed elder was so excited that his face was burning. He was too happy. Even after being in the sacred grounds for a few hundred years, He had never seen someone with such a monstrous perception like Yi Fei. As for Yi Fei's mediocre talent, it was not a problem at all. At most, he could use a Martial King or Martial Saint's talent crystal to raise Yi Fei's Dantian quality. On this point, the red-robed elder and the Devil Emperor had the same thoughts. But who knew, when the red-robed elder realized that Yi Fei's Dantian quality was no longer Earth Grade 1, but Earth Grade 6, what kind of shocked expression would he have? But at the moment, everyone was stunned by Yi Fei's stunning performance, including the other Mountain River list experts on the other stages. All of them looked at Yi Fei with fear in their eyes. Yi Fei's soaring fists were still being released. The blood-colored light pillar brought Yi Fei to shatter Shifeng's 5-stone lock. Then, it brought Yi Fei even further into the sky. Bang bang bang! Wherever the fists passed, the void would collapse. This was the most terrifying aspect of the 7 killing fists. With one punch, everything would be destroyed. Even the heavens and earth would not be able to stop this killing intent. If no one stopped the invincible Yi Fei, Yi Fei's fist could possibly shatter the void and create the Sky Martial Continent. Chapter 281. Shifeng admits defeat. Looking at Yi Fei, who was filled with killing intent and was constantly shattering the void, the red-robed elder was both happy and fearful at the same time. One must know that the pressure of the void was extremely terrifying. Only those who had reached the Martial King realm could barely step into the void. Even Martial Saints were unable to stay in the void for long periods of time. On the other hand, Yi Fei's strength was only at the 9th layer Martial Ancestor realm, but he was able to shatter the rules of the heavens and earth with the perfection stage of the 7 deadly fists and enter the rift. There was only one outcome for him, which was to be instantly shattered by the boundless rift, leaving nothing behind. This was the terror of the void. The red-robed elder could not bear to see a disciple with unlimited potential die mysteriously in the midst of cultivation. Hence, he used a rare martial honorable realm mind consciousness attack to attack Yi Fei's mind. Boom! An invisible mental attack directly penetrated Yi Fei's body and entered his mind. The red-robed elder was very confident. Regardless of whether Yi Fei entered invincible anatta or had an epiphany, he could instantly suppress Yi Fei and wake Yi Fei up. However, the red-robed elder would never have imagined that Yi Fei still had the terrifying consciousness of the first holy master in his mind. It had completely fused with Yi Fei's spirit. As soon as the red-robed elder's spiritual consciousness entered, he was attacked by the Sacred Lord's spiritual consciousness. Bang! The red-robed elder felt like his head was about to explode. Not only was the spiritual will he used to suppress Yi Fei completely destroyed, but the red-robed elder couldn't withstand the pressure and was forced to half-kneel in midair. It looked like he was submitting to Yi Fei. Everyone was shocked. Countless disciples and elders looked at the red-robed elder in disbelief. What were they seeing? The high and mighty elder of the Holy Land had failed to suppress Yi Fei and was instead suppressed by Yi Fei. However, the red-robed elder's actions had a certain effect. He had successfully awakened Yi Fei from the special state of invincible anatta. Then, Yi Fei saw the red-robed elder half-kneeling in midair and Shifeng, who was staring at him in fear. Yi Fei felt very strange. "Elder, what are you doing? Also, Shifeng, weren't we fighting? Why is your stone lock broken?" Yi Fei completely couldn't remember that all of this was caused by him. He was the one who destroyed Shifeng's stone lock. The red-robed elder also suffered a great loss. He was unintentionally suppressed by Yi Fei. At this moment, his mind was in a daze. "I remember that I was practicing the 7-kill fist. Why can't I remember anything?" Yi Fei scratched his head in frustration. Hearing this, the red-robed elder was so angry that he almost vomited blood. He looked at Yi Fei strangely and asked, "Yi Fei, do you remember what state you were in?" "I don't remember." Yi Fei shook his head. He really didn't have any recollection of it. Then why is your mental consciousness so strong? The red-robed elder did not give up and continued to ask. He was a 10th layer martial highness realm expert, yet he was suppressed by a martial ancestor realm disciple. If he did not find out the truth, the red-robed elder would die of anger. Yi Fei Anata suddenly realized that he had caused trouble. However, he didn't dare to hide the truth from the higher-ups of the Holy Land. Of course, there was nothing to hide. When I was comprehending the sword steel, Sword Maniac Elder thanked me for my help and gave me the mental consciousness of the first Holy Master. Yi Fei Anata said sincerely. What? Junior brother Sword Maniac Elder gave you the mental consciousness of the first Holy Master? Sigh, I should have known. How can there be a normal person on the Sword Peak? I didn't fall for nothing. The red-robed elder seemed to be disheartened. When he knew that Sword Maniac Elder was so generous to give Yi Fei the mental consciousness of the first Holy Master, he knew that it was impossible for him to accept Yi Fei as his disciple. After all, the Sword Peak had a special status in the Holy Land. There's nothing else. You can continue with the competition. The red-robed elder flew back gloomily. Yi Fei Anata Elder didn't know that his actions had shocked the disciples and elders present. Seeing that the red-robed elder had left, Yi Fei Anata Elder didn't have time to think. He suddenly slapped his head and shouted, "Oh no, I think I'm still in the competition. I haven't been disqualified yet." Yi Fei's words made all the elders and disciples present speechless. You know that you're in the competition. It's fine that you're cultivating in the middle of a battle, but you're so bold that you even suppressed the red-robed elder. Especially when they found out that Yi Fei Elder had obtained the mental consciousness of the first Holy Master, many disciples and elders were envious. Huang Shu's eyes were about to spit fire with jealousy. Ma Zai was also shocked and afraid. He began to worry inwardly. Damn it, this Yi Fei is actually so strong. Damn the Ouyang clan, you didn't even investigate properly before asking me to deal with him. If he doesn't come to deal with me now, I'll be burning incense. Obviously, Yi Fei's punch was so powerful that it almost pierced through the void. Even Ma Zai was afraid of it. Gongsun Long, who had sneak-attacked Yi Fei before, was so scared that he was trembling as he walked. Gongsun Long had already decided that after this competition, he would immediately go into seclusion and not appear in front of Yi Fei for 3 to 5 years. He didn't want Yi Fei to hold a grudge against him. In the crowd, Gu Man's eyes were wide open. He felt very sullen and helpless as he watched Yi Fei slowly descend. His heart couldn't help but tremble. At the beginning, Gu Man still had the mentality of wanting to avenge his previous humiliation and fight Yi Fei again. But now, after seeing Yi Fei's terrifying 7-kill fist that could even shatter the void, Gu Man immediately decided that he shouldn't provoke a freak like Yi Fei in the future. Shifeng, I'm sorry about just now. When I was training, I was slightly distracted. Shall we continue? Yi Fei once again landed on the stage. His body was once again filled with an intense battle intent. Feeling Yi Fei's battle intent and seeing the 5 stone locks that were smashed by Yi Fei, Shifeng's face couldn't help but twitch. Finally, his face turned red and he helplessly lowered his head towards Yi Fei. Yi Fei, you're a freak. I admit defeat. With that, Shifeng turned and dragged the remaining 4 stone locks away. Walking down the stage, his back view was filled with sadness. Shifeng was really hit by Yi Fei. Heavens, Shifeng actually took the initiative to admit defeat. In the previous Mountain River List competition, when he faced the second-ranked 10th prince, he didn't even admit defeat. Instead, he fainted from exhaustion. This can't be helped. Senior brother Yi is too freakish. Not to mention his freakish physical defense, that fist of his almost pierced through the void. I reckon that other than the top 4 inner sect experts, no one else would dare to fight with senior brother Yi. I don't know if you guys noticed, but it's said that senior brother Yi comprehended sword intent. But just now, he was using fist techniques. Hiss. Chapter 282. No one dares to fight. Of course, these people would never have guessed that it wasn't that Yi Fei didn't want to draw his sword. It was just that his sword had been shattered in the battle with the Bone Messenger. This made Yi Fei's heart ache, because the Devil Emperor's scripture and the extraterrestrial divine flame had fused together. It was extremely tyrannical. The devouring sword intent was even more terrifying. This also caused ordinary profound level weapons to be unable to withstand Yi Fei's violent vital essence and devouring sword essence. Even in the Holy Land, treasured level weapons that were above profound level were as rare as heaven level cultivation technique. Within a short period of time, it was extremely difficult for Yi Fei to find a suitable sword for himself. This was also the reason why Yi Fei was forced to learn the 7 killing fist during his battle with Shi Feng. However, this is really strange. I clearly don't remember anything just now. Why did Shi Feng admit defeat? My 7 kill fists also mysteriously entered the realm of perfection. Yi Fei patted his head in distress. Invincible Anata was not something that could be achieved under any circumstances. It was a kind of subconscious spiritual cultivation, a further enlightenment of the martial way. It was a spiritual level that even martial sages dreamed of and hoped to enter. Unfortunately, Yi Fei's subconscious actions were forcefully interrupted by the red-robed elder. His memory of that part of his memory was also erased. It was impossible for him to recall it. After defeating Gong Sun Long and Shi Feng, my entry into the top 10 of the Mountain River list should be stable. Now it will depend on Zhao Yu and Luo Shi. How far can they go? Yi Fei walked down from the stage. He didn't dare to go too far. Instead, he found an empty spot and sat down cross-legged to heal his injuries. When the surrounding disciples saw Yi Fei coming over, they did not dare to make a ruckus. They were very respectful and hurriedly left the area, not daring to disturb Yi Fei's cultivation. Seeing Yi Fei defeat Shi Feng with their own eyes, and even suppressing the elder, no disciple dared to disrespect or offend Yi Fei. Although the Mountain River list competition had not started yet, many of the people present knew that with Yi Fei's strength, not to mention entering the top 10, it was even possible for him to obtain first place. At this time, unless someone was crazy, no one would provoke Yi Fei. Following the end of Yi Fei and Shi Feng's battle, order in the 55th stage was finally restored. Under the elder's orders, groups of inner sect disciples rushed up the broken stage and started to fight again. However, these disciples also formed a tacit understanding, and that was, if they encountered a battle between Shi Feng and Yi Fei, none of them would accept the challenge. Zhang Zhang Long Zhang's Zhang Long. Zhang. Chin Chin Ho Hot Chin Chin Chin. Elder, he's on his period. It's not suitable for battle today. The following matches were all one-sided. Other than facing Gong Sun Long, there were a few inner sect disciples who were not afraid of death, who went up to exchange pointers. Facing Shi Feng and Yi Fei, no one dared to go up to fight. Yi Fei had to participate in 20 matches. Other than the 2 matches against Gong Sun Long and Shi Feng, all of his opponents forfeited in the other 18 matches. As a matter of course, before the first round of matches had even ended, Yi Fei had already entered the next round with a record of 20 victories. Shi Feng had won 19 out of 20 matches and lost 1, and was ranked second. Although Gong Sun Long was strong, he was rather unlucky. First, he was taught a lesson by Yi Fei, revealing his inferiority complex and brutal side. His mental state suffered a huge blow. Sadly, Gu Man, who had just joined the inner sect, coincidentally drew the 55th stage. Relying on his small success barbarian body, Gu Man was extremely barbaric. He copied Yi Fei's method of dealing with Gong Sun Long, directly activating his barbarian body and crushing his opponent. The tyrannical body successfully evoked the terrifying memories of Gong's son Long facing Yi Fei. In the end, Gong's son Long lost his composure and was crushed by Gu Man's small success barbarian body. He was directly thrown out of the stage and completely lost the qualifications to participate in the second round of the competition. He also lost the 11th position in the intersect. At this time, Yi Fei had also successfully used the Devil Emperor scripture to heal the injuries in his body. After that, he walked towards Luo Shi's 64 stage, wanting to see Luo Shi's growth in this period of time. In the end, when he walked over, he realized that Zhao Yu and Wang Bai were already there to spectate. Luo Shi also had a relaxed look as he brought his spirit eagle down from the stage. Seeing Luo Shi's appearance, Yi Fei knew that Luo Shi's competition would definitely go smoothly. He smiled and congratulated him. Luo Shi, seems like you will definitely enter the Mountain River list? Hee, Brother Fei, I should be the one congratulating you. To be able to appear in the death group and even force Shifeng to admit defeat, you are still the best. Especially when you punched towards the sky, you almost scared the first place of our stage silly. Luo Shi spoke about what happened just now with a smile of exultation. Zhao Yu's beautiful eyes also looked at Yi Fei without blinking, causing Yi Fei to lower his head speechlessly. He was embarrassed to say that he could not recall what happened just now. But for Luo Shi to successfully enter the Mountain River list, it was still a happy matter. Following that, Yi Fei looked at Zhao Yu and asked, Zhao Yu, what about you? I am not as perverted as you, but the opponents that I met all surrendered. I did not even fight a single match. Zhao Yu was extremely depressed. This also caused Luo Shi, who had fought a total of 20 matches and was sweating profusely, to almost vomit blood. He looked at Yi Fei and Zhao Yu with hidden bitterness. The two of you are truly a match made in heaven, both of you are so perverted. Bang! Just as Luo Shi finished speaking, the surrounding air quickly soared. Yi Fei was also sweating profusely from the heat. Wang Bai did not need to say anything. He had already grabbed onto Luo Shi's collar and pressed him to the ground and started kicking him. At the same time, he smiled at Zhao Yu and said, Princess Zhao Yu, don't be angry, this rascal is asking for a beating. In truth, I have long disliked this birdman. Humph, if you guys continue to be so boring, I will not be friends with you guys. Zhao Yu snorted. It was rare that she did not get angry, but rolled her eyes at Yi Fei and turned to leave. Yi Fei then had time to wipe off the sweat on his forehead, secretly shocked at Zhao Yu's strength. She had not even gotten angry, but he could feel the heat waves. If she were to get angry, it would be terrible. As expected, being friends with such a fiery temper princess is an extremely dangerous thing. Yi Fei rarely sighed, causing Wang Bai and Luo Shi to agree with him with all their might. Obviously, the two of them had angered Zhao Yu many times, causing their bodies to mysteriously catch fire. Yi Fei also silently looked at the two of them with sympathy. After that, he left and returned to his own residence to continue training. After all, the battle with Shifeng had caused his internal injuries to be extremely serious, and could not be recovered in a short period of time. Luckily, the sacred grounds had set a rule beforehand: as long as one entered the top 10 of the Mountain River list or defeated the top 10 experts, they would have special privileges, and did not need to participate in the competition for the top 100, but could directly participate in the competition for the top 10 3 days later. Chapter 283. Break through the 10th layer. The first thing Yi Fei did when he returned to his residence was to call Feng Xinyang, who was still cultivating. He said, Xinyang, help me go to the inner hall of weapons and the auction in Taishan City. See if there are any good low-level bejeweled swords. It would be best if they were of the fire attribute. Considering that the extraterrestrial divine fire in Yi Fei's body was also quite domineering, a sword that was not of the fire attribute, even a low-grade treasure weapon, might not be able to withstand the high temperature of the extraterrestrial divine fire for a long time. Therefore, the most suitable sword for Yi Fei was still of the fire attribute. Not only was such a sword sturdy, it was also extremely resistant to fire. Feng Xinyang nodded her head in understanding and went out to help Yi Fei's search. Taking advantage of this period of time, Yi Fei could use the spiritual crystals in his body to heal his injuries. At the same time, he could replenish the black energy in his body. However, as the spirit crystals continued to be used, Yi Fei could clearly feel that the undying sword soul was becoming picky again. In the past, one spirit crystal was enough to activate a wisp of the undying sword soul's black energy. But now, 3 spirit crystals were needed to make the undying sword soul unwillingly spit out a wisp of weak energy. If this continued, the undying sword soul's appetite would continue to grow. Yi Fei estimated that the undying sword soul would not even bother to absorb the spirit crystals on him. This made Yi Fei's expression turn ugly. Why do I feel that this undying sword soul is even harder to please than Princess Xiaoyu? Thinking about it that way, in the upcoming battles for the top 10 of the Mountain River list, there would be many strong opponents, and it would be a tough battle. Now that the black energy of the undying sword soul had accumulated in his body, the more the better. Through this battle with Shifeng, I have finally witnessed what an inner disciple's genius looks like. Even Huang Shi's talent is not to be underestimated. It seems like a 9th-layer martial ancestor realm is still too weak for me to obtain a good ranking. I need to at least be a 10th-layer martial ancestor realm in order to obtain a better advantage. After understanding this point, Yi Fei did not hesitate anymore. Even though it was painful, as it would make the undying sword soul even more picky, but he had no choice. Other than the heaven-grade jade blood pill, Yi Fei did not have any other pills that he could take out. He could only close his eyes and gloomily took all the heaven-grade pills like jelly beans, one after another. By doing so, he could increase the undying sword soul's black energy. At the same time, he could try to break through to the 10th-layer martial ancestor realm. Just as Yi Fei was breaking through, the competition for the Mountain River list was still in full swing. After all, it was the biggest event in the sacred ground. Not only were there many inner sect disciples participating, there were also many outer sect disciples spectating, and many more. Outside of the sacred grounds, a few powerful sects, or representatives of powerful countries under the sacred grounds were invited to the sacred grounds to observe the competition. The Ouyang family was the #1 aristocratic family in Taixien City. They were also invited to observe the competition. But the patriarch of the Ouyang family had an ugly expression on his face. There were faint bruises on his face. It was obvious that he had been beaten up. The person who could do such a thing was, of course, Ma Zai. After discovering Yi Fei's shocking potential, Ma Zai's disdain for Yi Fei gradually turned into fear. Don't look at how Ma Zai was ranked 3rd on the Mountain River list, but like Huang Xie, both of their rankings had a huge element of luck. For example, when facing Shifeng, Ma Zai did not have the confidence to win. But Yi Fei was able to make Shifeng bow his head and admit defeat. This made Ma Zai secretly worried. At this time, Ma Zai would not find trouble with Yi Fei. Instead, he called the patriarch of the Ouyang family over to beat him up. He warned the Ouyang family not to reveal their special relationship with Ma Zai. So, the patriarch of the Ouyang family was not only beaten up for nothing, but was also blackmailed by Ma Zai using the excuse of offending Yi Fei. The patriarch of the Ouyang family was suffering unspeakable. The most outstanding genius of the family was killed by Yi Fei. Yi Fei's strength was so strong that even the greedy Ma Zai was afraid of him. The small Ouyang family did not dare to take revenge on Yi Fei. Of course, the patriarch of the Ouyang family's matter, in the eyes of the elders of the sacred grounds, was a trivial matter. No one even paid attention to it. Everyone's gaze was fixed on the various arenas, looking at the disciples who were fighting on them, trying to find some amazing talent. On the first day, due to Yi Fei's astonishing performance, many of the disciples' radiance were overshadowed. But after Yi Fei and the top 10 experts left, the radiance of the disciples gradually became more dazzling. Zhao Yu's performance was the most eye-catching. All the disciples who met Zhao Yu were either shocked by Zhao Yu's beauty and admitted defeat, or when they were preparing to fight, their bodies suddenly caught fire. Before the fight even started, they were burnt black and were carried down. Zhao Yu's exquisite control over flames deeply shocked many of the elders present. The red-robed elder's eyes began to shine once more. He pointed at Zhao Yu and exclaimed, "This is Zhao's princess, right? Her constitution is not simple. Even I can't see through it. I wonder if she has a master or not." Elder Qinglian hastily stood up and said, "Uncle Master Honglian, Zhao Yu is my disciple. As for her constitution, she seems to have a trace of the ancient phoenix's bloodline." "What? The phoenix's bloodline?" Boom! Many elders couldn't help but stand up in shock. The red-robed elder's gaze toward Zhao Yu also became extremely serious. "Very good. Even if it's just a trace of the phoenix's bloodline, this Zhao Yu will become one of the most outstanding people in our martial heaven continent in the future. Junior apprentice Sister Qinglian, you've found a good seedling. Later I'll personally report your contributions." "Thank you, Senior Apprentice Brother." Elder Qinglian was extremely happy. "Senior Apprentice Brother Honglian, in truth, my disciple Luo, she is also not bad. He has a very unique family-inherited cultivation technique that allows him to cultivate to the Hotian beast body. His future achievements are also limitless." Seeing that Zhao Yu was being valued so highly, Luo Shi's master was not to be outdone. He was a very benevolent old man. He also stood up and praised his disciple. But before he could finish, someone else interrupted him. "Luo Shi is not bad, but a Hotian beast body is still too uncertain. It's still not as reliable as a Xiantian beast body." "That's right, I also think so. We can observe this Luo Shi carefully. Zhao Yu, we need to take care of him. Oh right, there's also that Yan Bei. He has a blade body and has been training in the Kumu Peak for 10 years. I also think highly of his performance." The red-robed elder finally turned his gaze to the stage at the front. Yan Bei was wielding a goose feather blade. From the start of the competition until now, he was the same as Yi Fei. Yan Bei had never pulled out his blade. Even when he met the top 20 experts of the Mountain River list, no one was able to withstand one move from Yan Bei. Of course, it was not only these few that attracted attention. Gu Man's powerful defense, the barbarian body, also attracted many people's attention. Wang Bai's 4 eyebrows that were swaying all over the place also attracted the gazes of many higher-ups and elders. Just when the competition outside was at its most intense, an astonishing spirit qi undulation came out from Yi Fei's room. Following that, a qi that was twice as strong as before appeared on Yi Fei's body. Chapter 284. Chapter 284 The Battle of Two Girls. He had already broken through to Martial Ancestor Realm 10th stage and had asked Feng Xinyang to find a weapon. However, there was still no news. Yi Fei could not help but feel that it was strange. Fortunately, even if Feng Xinyang did not return, Yi Fei could still use the restriction on Feng Xinyang to know what she was thinking. After waiting for a while, Feng Xinyang still hadn't returned. Without a choice, Yi Fei could only contact Feng Xinyang through the restriction. "Xinyang, it's been so many days. Where's the weapon I asked you to find?" "Master, I'm sorry. I couldn't find the weapon you needed. Here in the Holy Land, only the elders can get a good sword of the treasure class. The good weapons in the auction in Taishan City are basically sold out. The new treasures will probably only arrive tomorrow." Feng Xinyang's fearful voice sounded in his mind, causing Yi Fei to feel a burst of depression. Sure enough, cultivating a tyrannical martial art was a very troublesome matter. For example, when he needed a weapon, his options would become very narrow. The only thing that comforted Yi Fei was that there would be new treasures arriving at the auction tomorrow, and the competition for the top 10 positions wouldn't be over in a day or two. I hope I won't meet a strong opponent in today's draw. Yi Fei once again flew towards the venue of the large tournament, while at the same time, he had Feng Xinyang continue to stay in the auction house and keep an eye out for any sword-type artifacts that might appear. When Yi Fei reached the stage, the competition for the top 100 positions of the Mountain River list had already been settled. All of the stages had disappeared, leaving only a gigantic stage in the middle. Yi Fei knew that it was most probably the stage for the fight for the top 10 of the Mountain River list. The rules of the arena this time weren't a free-for-all between several hundred disciples. Instead, only the top 20 disciples would draw lots and fight one-on-one. At the same time, each person would fight 3 rounds. Then, the ranking would be decided based on the number of rounds they won. In the sacred grounds, the competition for the top 100 of the Mountain River list was not intense. The truly intense competition was the competition for the top 10, which was also the stage for the strongest disciples in the inner sect to compete. Yi Fei was in the crowd, and very quickly found Wang Bai and Luo Shi together. He walked over and asked, "Luo Shi, have you finished fighting for the top 100 of the Mountain River list? What's your rank?" 78. Luo Shi's expression was somewhat ugly. Ever since he had cultivated the acquired beast body, Luo Shi had been faintly proud, thinking that he had finally joined the ranks of geniuses. But the competition for the Mountain River list had dealt a heavy blow to Luo Shi, causing him to wake up and understand that he still had a long way to go to catch up to Yi Fei. However, that guy Gu Man relied on his thick skin and thick flesh to rush to 56th place. Luo Shi said somewhat gloomily. Yi Fei was also a little surprised. It seems that Gu Man has grown quite quickly in the time that I haven't seen him. Coincidentally, Gu Man happened to pass by, and upon hearing those words, his face twitched slightly. What did he mean by growing quite quickly? That was completely the tone of a senior brother evaluating a junior brother. Gu Man did not say anything, his face darkened as he left. He had secretly decided that if he did not cultivate his barbarian body to the large success stage, he would not meet Yi Fei. If not, it would be a blow to his confidence that he had regained with great difficulty. Wang Bai suddenly thought of something and suddenly laughed sinisterly. Hee, Yi Fei, guess what is Zhao Yu's rank? I don't know, he should be in the top 20. Yi Fei guessed. What top 20? He is actually ranked 12. If he is not in the top 20, he does not need to compete anymore, and Zhao Yu's rank will only be higher. Brother Fei, seems like you and Zhao Yu can become opponents. At that time, will you be able to take action? Luo Shi laughed sinisterly. Yi Fei knew that the two of them were teasing him, but when he heard that Zhao Yu was in the top 20, he was still a little surprised. Then he thought carefully and realized that this was indeed a very serious problem. Zhao Yu was in the top 20. What if the elders selected him to fight with Zhao Yu when they drew lots? What should he do then? They were all friends, so it would be a little embarrassing if they fought directly. But if he did not fight, he could not just admit defeat. It is indeed a little difficult. Yi Fei touched his chin and also felt that it was a little tricky. Wang Bai laughed and said heroically, "What's so difficult about it? This woman, you can't always spoil her. When it's time to fight, you have to fight. Beat her until she is afraid, then she will naturally be obedient in the future." Huff, 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 huff. Unfortunately, before Wang Bai could finish his fallacious reasoning, his 4 eyebrows seemed to have been lit on fire, and white smoke came out of them. Yi Fei and Luo Shi immediately looked at Wang Bai with extreme sympathy. Wang Bai screamed. How could he not understand what had happened? Without another word, he looked at a pond not far away and rushed in at the speed of light. He did not even care about the ice in the pond as he dove in headfirst. Yi Fei could clearly see that Wang Bai's body was almost frozen into an ice sculpture. Luo Shi was so frightened that he hugged the spirit eagle on his shoulder and turned to run as far away as possible. Yi Fei stood in place gloomily. He looked at Zhao Yu, who was walking over, and said, "Princess, if you keep burning like this, you will leave a shadow in Wang Bai's heart." Zhao Yu simply ignored the frozen ice sculpture in the distance and said with a sweet smile, "Is that so? What happened just now?" "All right, how is Wang Bai? Is he all right?" Zhao Yu revealed an anxious expression. Those who did not know would really think that she was innocent. Just at that moment, a hand suddenly patted Zhao Yu's shoulder. Wang Bai was covered in ice and appeared behind Zhao Yu with deep hatred. "Princess, let's discuss this. Next time, when you burn me, can you change the place to burn me? It is not easy for this brother to grow 4 eyebrows." "All right, then next time I will only burn one of your eyebrows. Growing 3 eyebrows will make you more unique," Zhao Yu said with a sweet smile. But that smile, in Yi Fei and Wang Bai's eyes, was more terrifying than a demon. Luckily, Wang Bai's suffering did not last for long. In the middle of the stage, the clan elders had already announced the order of the top 20. Everyone immediately held their breaths and looked at the crystal wall to announce the order of the top 10. Because Yi Fei had defeated Shifeng, he had replaced Shifeng's position and was temporarily ranked 5th. This time, his opponent was actually Yan Bei, who was ranked 11th. Yan Bei, I have never heard of him before. Could he be a new disciple? Yi Fei was surprised, but he did not think too much about it. As long as he did not face Zhao Yu, it would be fine. That way, both parties would not be embarrassed. Then, Yi Fei subconsciously looked at Zhao Yu's opponent. In the end, Yi Fei's eyes almost popped out. There were many people who were paying attention to Zhao Yu's ranking, and they were in an uproar. No way, Zhao Yu's opponent is actually senior sister Qi Chu Chu. What? Qi Chu Chu, the only female disciple in the top 10 of the Mountain River list. The heavens are jealous of her beauty. Princess is my goddess, senior sister Qi is also my goddess. Why do the 2 goddesses have to fight each other? Isn't it better to love each other? Chapter 285. Fury of the Phoenix, Mountain River List Top 10, First Round, Zhao Yu against Qi Chu Chu. The black-robed elder in charge of refereeing didn't care about how shocked the disciples below were. Once the rankings were announced, the competition would immediately begin. And this match was between Zhao Yu and Qi Chu Chu, who was ranked 4th in the inner court. Many disciples who supported Zhao Yu were already sighing. In the end, although Zhao Yu was strong, Qi Chu Chu was ranked 4th in the previous Mountain River list, a half-step martial honorable expert. The battle between the two had yet to begin, but the disparity was obvious. Yi Fei couldn't help but glance at Zhao Yu when he saw the ranking announced by the elder. He said helplessly, "Zhao Yu, it looks like you're in for a tough battle this time." "What? Do you think I'll definitely lose?" Zhao Yu suddenly glared at him, a little angry. Yi Fei immediately felt that this princess was really hard to please. He simply shut his mouth and said, "Good luck." Only then did Zhao Yu fly into the ring with satisfaction. Qi Chu Chu, who was standing at the side and talking to the 10th prince, saw this and also walked up to the arena with light steps like a butterfly. Qi Chu Chu was demonstrating her strength. Many disciples couldn't help but cheer when they saw Qi Chu Chu's display of strength. Yi Fei's eyes lit up. This Qi Chu Chu wasn't a simple person. As if she had noticed Yi Fei's gaze, Qi Chu Chu suddenly smiled at Yi Fei. "Little brother, not bad. No wonder you were willing to spend 100,000 contribution points to bid for the 7 killing fist. It turns out that your perception is so strong. When we meet later, you have to go easy on me." Yi Fei broke out in a cold sweat. This Qi Chu Chu was still the same. She would take pleasure in teasing others. Especially when she called him little brother, it made Yi Fei feel depressed. He had already seen many of the disciples who adored Qi Chu Chu, including a few of the Mountain River list experts. All of them were glaring at him angrily. Qi Chu Chu, let's begin. Zhao Yu did not know why, but when he looked at Qi Chu Chu, anger suddenly rose in his heart. With just a glare, the temperature in the arena suddenly rose rapidly. In an instant, a huge ball of fire appeared around Qi Chu Chu. Yi Fei was shocked. He knew that Princess Zhao Yu was getting angry for no reason again. I wonder what kind of constitution Zhao Yu has. Her flames are really hard to guard against. I wonder how Qi Chu Chu will deal with it. Yi Fei stared intently at the arena. All the disciples present, as well as many of the elders, stared at the arena without blinking. After all, this was a fight for the top 10 positions in the inner sect, and it was a fight between two female disciples. Such a battle was very rare in the entire Holy Land. Naturally, no one would miss this battle. There were even people who were secretly betting on who would emerge victorious in the battle between the two goddesses. Princess, you can do it. We will always support you. Seeing Zhao Yu using the mysterious flames again, many disciples cheered loudly for Zhao Yu. Senior sister Qi Chu Chu, do your best. You must win. There were also many disciples who supported Qi Chu Chu who cheered loudly. Bang! As though in response to the cheers, Qi Chu Chu, who was surrounded by flames, suddenly extended her white fist and waved it forward. The flames surrounding her were all shattered. Zhao Yu, your flames are truly unique. But it is a pity that you cannot block my innate tyrant fist. Tyrannical beyond compare. Qi Chu Chu was no longer flirtatious. Her body suddenly had a heroic spirit like that of a man. A cold tyrannical aura was emitted from her fist. Bang bang bang. Under the pressure of Qi Chu Chu's fists, the air actually exploded. It was hard to imagine that such a ferocious and tyrannical fist technique could be unleashed by a lady. But this was the terror of Qi Chu Chu, the fourth-ranked expert of the Mountain River list. Fire ray! Zhao Yu's face immediately congealed. She did not retreat, but instead took a step forward. Just as Qi Chu Chu unleashed her tyrant fist and shattered the flames. A regiment of blazing flames enveloped Zhao Yu's entire body. Finally, it transformed into a terrifying fire ray. It swept past the sturdy stage, burning a pitch-black ravine. Then, it flew towards Qi Chu Chu. Bang! The innate tyrant fist and the fire ray collided. Qi Chu Chu staggered. The boundless tyrannical aura was actually suppressed. Zhao Yu was perspiring profusely. Her face revealed a rare look of shock. Qi Chu Chu actually used her fists to shatter the high-temperature fire ray that she had released. Innate tyrant fist is truly powerful. Zhao Yu retreated continuously, not daring to get close to Qi Chu Chu. Your physique is also very strong. Qi Chu Chu praised Zhao Yu. Then, the boundless tyrannical aura once again surfaced from Qi Chu Chu's body. Ha! Qi Chu Chu exhaled. She did not give Zhao Yu any chance to retreat. A terrifying fist aura exploded out. Suddenly, it transformed into a large number of fist images, covering the entire stage. The ring was trembling under the power of Qi Chu Chu's tyrant fist. The shadow of the fist, which was as large as a millstone, was constantly smashing towards Zhao Yu's body, leaving terrifying deep pits on the ground. Borrowing the cover of the fist images, Qi Chu Chu's figure became even more tyrannical. She quickly closed in on Zhao Yu. She wanted to borrow the strength of a half-step martial saint and the violence of the tyrant fist to get rid of Zhao Yu in one breath. Zhao Yu's sudden retreat had already allowed Qi Chu Chu to discover Zhao Yu's weakness in close combat. Now, she wanted to use this weakness to quickly get rid of Zhao Yu. As expected of the fourth-ranked expert of the Mountain River list. Even Zhao Yu's flames are unable to block senior sister Qi's tyrant fist. Luo Jing sighed. Hee, that might not be the case. Little girl Zhao's Phoenix's fury is much more terrifying than the dragon's fury. Wang Bai laughed indifferently. While the others were holding their breaths and nervously watching the battle on the stage, Wang Bai's expression was extremely calm. He even faintly emitted an aura that transcended the mortal world. This caused Yi Fei's expression to become strange. He subconsciously looked carefully at Zhao Yu, who was forced to the corner of the stage. Suddenly Yi Fei noticed something. Even though he was being forced to retreat, the temperature of the flames on the stage did not decrease. Instead, it was increasing at a speed visible to the naked eye. Qi Chuchu's innate tyrant fist looked ferocious and tyrannical. But Yi Fei's sharp senses discovered that every step Qi Chuchu took was extremely difficult. Her forehead was covered in sweat that dripped onto the ground. Finally, when Qi Chuchu was 10 steps away from Zhao Yu, she stopped. She seemed to be hesitating. Finally, she clenched her teeth and took another step forward. Tyrant fist of mountains and rivers. Bang! An extremely ferocious fist image was thrown forward by Qi Chuchu. The air in front of her immediately exploded. The sturdy stage was unable to withstand the tyrannical Qi. A gigantic crack, with Qi Chuchu as the center, quickly rushed towards the corner where Zhao Yu was standing. Chapter 286. Ice and Fire, Fury of the Fire Phoenix. Zhao Yu also gritted her teeth. Suddenly, a mellow, beautiful, and angry sound came out of her throat. All the flames in the arena suddenly gathered around Zhao Yu, and finally formed a huge fire bird phantom. Boom! 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 Large balls of blazing flames were spat out from the fire bird's mouth. They transformed into a terrifying flame that spread out in a fan shape and enveloped Qi Chuchu from all directions. Heavens, that's the Earth-level martial art, Fire Rain Meteor? How can it be so powerful? Many disciples exclaimed. Many disciples knew how to use the fiery meteor shower. However, no one was able to use it as horrifying as Zhao Yu's, where the fiery rain formed into a fan shape and covered the entire arena. This kind of power was already not inferior to some heaven-grade martial art. This Zhao Yu's control over flames is actually so terrifying. In the elders' seats, the red-robed elder and many of the spectating elders couldn't help but stand up in shock. However, Zhao Yu will still be defeated. Qi Chuchu's strongest point is not only the innate tyrant fist, the 10th prince said coldly. By his side, there were many experts in the top 20 of the Mountain River list. Hearing that, they all nodded their heads. No one knew better than them how terrifying Qi Chuchu was. Although she was only a woman, Qi Chuchu's heart was much stronger than many men's. Even if the tyrant fist was blocked by the flames, it was unable to take another step forward. However, there was no dejection on Qi Chuchu's face. Instead, it was filled with a happy expression. He, Zhao Yu, your physique is truly astonishing. To be honest, I'm a bit reluctant to defeat you. However, there's nothing I can do about it. I've already agreed to have a proper competition with little brother. Little brother. Qi Chuchu's words caused many of the disciples present to glare at Yi Fei with resentment. If looks could kill, Yi Fei probably wouldn't even be able to find his ashes. Humph! You're not strong enough to defeat me. Zhao Yu didn't want to say anything at first, but for some reason, when she heard Qi Chuchu's words, she couldn't help but say something. There's a flaw. Junior sister, you still fell for it. Heaven flying immortal. Qi Chuchu had been waiting for Zhao Yu to open his mouth. As long as Zhao Yu opened his mouth, she would be able to lock onto Zhao Yu's position through the flames. As long as his position was confirmed with Qi Chuchu's strength, she would be able to kill him in one strike. Qi Chuchu made her move. Her half-step martial saint quintessence burst forth and blocked the waves of flames in front of her. Qi Chuchu exhaled and she looked like a fairy descending to the mortal world. Countless flower petals appeared around her body. In an instant, these flower petals turned into sharp blades that broke through the sea of flames and rushed towards Zhao Yu. Boom! The flower petals exploded beside Zhao Yu. A terrifying shockwave formed a hurricane. Not only did it blow away all the flames, but Zhao Yu's body was also affected. He vomited blood and fell to the edge of the arena. If she hadn't grabbed the crack in the ground with her fingers at the last moment, she would have died. Chi-Chu-Chu's attack could knock Zhao Yu off the stage. "Junior Martial Sister, you've lost," Chi-Chu-Chu said with confidence. "You're despicable. You actually cheated." Zhao Yu was extremely gloomy. If she had not been cheated, Chi-Chu-Chu might not have been able to discover her real body hidden in the flames. "All's fair in war." Chi-Chu-Chu playfully stuck out her tongue with an innocent expression, causing Yi Fei to be speechless. "I will not lose." Zhao Yu stood up stubbornly. Even though she was injured, she was still stubborn and stubborn. She was a strong woman. Zhao Yu's performance had undoubtedly influenced many people. Chi-Chu-Chu also kept her playful expression and looked at Zhao Yu seriously. "Junior Martial Sister, we can be friends in the future. But now, you are still not my opponent." That might not be the case. Zhao Yu's gaze was resolute. She suddenly took the initiative to attack Chi-Chu-Chu. Chi-Chu-Chu shook her head. "Junior Martial Sister, when I discovered your real body, I had already used my mental power to lock onto your chi. The same technique is useless against us Mountain River list experts. Heaven flying immortal." Chi-Chu-Chu's body once again emitted the aura of an immortal. Countless petals surrounded her and exploded with a loud bang. Once again, Zhao Yu's flame was blown into pieces. But Zhao Yu didn't retreat. He didn't care that his clothes were stained with blood, and he didn't care that the petals in the sky might cut his delicate skin. Zhao Yu continued to move forward. Step by step, he charged towards Chi-Chu-Chu with great difficulty and determination, even though she couldn't even control her flames. "Seems like Zhao Yu is going to lose this time." Lin Xin and Yang Xiao came to Yi Fei's side and sighed. That might not be the case. Zhao Yu is not an impulsive person. Since she is in such a situation and still refuses to admit defeat, she definitely has some tricks up her sleeves. Yi Fei shook his head. He suddenly remembered what Wang Bai had said. The fury of the phoenix was even more terrifying than the fury of the dragon. There seemed to be a hidden meaning behind this. It can't be. Zhao Yu seems to be injured to the point where she can no longer control her flames. Without that special flame, how can she defeat Chi-Chu-Chu? Yang Xiao did not know where Yi Fei's confidence came from, but she still could not help but focus on the arena with Lin Senator in the arena. Chi-Chu-Chu also looked at Zhao Yu with admiration. But admiration was just admiration. An enemy was still an enemy. At this time, Chi-Chu-Chu would not be lenient. "This is the final attack. Junior Sister, be careful." Chi-Chu-Chu's expression changed when she felt the temperature around her gradually returning. Of course, she could not let Zhao Yu condense those special flames again. A large amount of water vapor suddenly appeared around Chi-Chu-Chu's body. It was like a huge wave that was grabbed by Chi-Chu-Chu. In the end, it formed a huge blue longbow. Blue sea raging waves. Chi-Chu-Chu drew the bow and shot out a huge wave. Not only did it shatter the surrounding flames that were about to condense, this wave also carried an astonishing power as it rushed towards Zhao Yu's body. "Zhao Yu is going to lose," the 10th prince said with certainty. "This Chi-Chu-Chu is indeed not simple. She actually possesses the rare water spirit body. But compared to my saber body, the water spirit body is still too weak." Yan Bei held the Yenling saber in his hand. His serious gaze shifted from Zhao Yu to Chi-Chu-Chu. Yi Fei's eyes suddenly lit up. Then, a smile appeared at the corner of Zhao Yu's mouth. "The water spirit body is indeed so. No wonder I keep feeling that you are not affected by my flames. If that's the case." Fury of the Ice Phoenix. Zhao Yu suddenly uttered a strange syllable. The temperature of the air in the arena suddenly dropped. A biting cold wind blew in the sky. Zhao Yu's flame-like hair suddenly became as white as snow. She pointed at the incoming wave with a finger that carried cold air. The entire wave instantly froze. It then turned into a huge ice pillar. Suddenly, it turned around and crashed towards Chi-Chu-Chu. Chi-Chu-Chu's face was filled with shock. Ice and raging flames. How can these two extreme attributes appear on the same person? Chi-Chu-Chu subconsciously wanted to avoid it. However, she soon discovered a shocking fact. She didn't know when, but her legs had been sealed in ice. More accurately, the entire arena had turned into a world of ice and snow under the cold air that Zhao Yu released. Chi-Chu-Chu did not have the slightest thought of dodging. Boom! Chapter 287. Huang Shi's trump card. Chi-Chu-Chu actually lost. Ice and raging fire. What kind of physique does this Zhao Yu have? He can actually control the two extremes of ice and fire at the same time. Looking at Chi-Chu-Chu, who was sent flying out of the arena by the icicle, the spectating disciples were silent at first. Suddenly, an intense discussion broke out. Even Chi-Chu-Chu, a half-step martial saint with a water spirit body, was unable to withstand Zhao Yu's icy cold raging fire. This in itself showed how powerful Zhao Yu's body was. If we were to say that the first day of the Mountain River List competition was Yi Fei's stage, then at that moment it was undoubtedly Zhao Yu's stage. Zhao Yu had used the dual attributes of ice and fire to announce the rise of another woman in the Taishan Holy Land, and she was unstoppable. Yi Fei, I am already in the top 10 of the Mountain River List, and it seems that I am one rank higher than you. Zhao Yu flew down from the stage with a tired face, and looked at Yi Fei provocatively. Chi-Chu-Chu also walked over at this moment. She looked at Yi Fei with hidden bitterness and said, "Little brother, big sister won't be able to experience your 7 kill fists, but Zhao Yu can. When the time comes, you can't go easy on him." Boom. The two goddesses were standing beside Yi Fei at the same time. The surrounding disciples were shocked at first, and then countless murderous gazes shot towards them. They wished they could tear Yi Fei to pieces. Yi Fei felt that he had been wronged. Zhao Yu coming over wasn't a big deal. They were all companions. But Chi-Chu-Chu coming over was purely to cause trouble. Forget it. Even if I can't afford to offend him, I can still hide from him. Nodding at Zhao Yu and Chi-Chu-Chu, Yi Fei wisely turned around and left without saying anything, leaving Zhao Yu and Chi-Chu-Chu to talk. Only then did the invisible murderous aura in the surroundings become slightly thinner. First battle, Zhao Yu wins. The elder in charge of refereeing finally regained his senses and announced the result of the competition. This result was very surprising, but it was well deserved. At the same time, Zhao Yu's ice and fire dual attribute physique caused many of the Mountain River List experts to look at Zhao Yu with fear. Lin Sun and Yang Xiao both smiled bitterly and shook their heads. Junior brothers and sisters nowadays are really too abnormal. If we don't work hard, I'm afraid we won't even be able to keep our top 10 positions. Next match, Ma Zai vs. Huang Xie. The referee elder loudly announced the name list for the second battle. It was actually the battle between Huang Shu and Ma Zai. Originally, Ma Zai was ranked third. Disregarding his character, Ma Zai's strength was still very valiant. But when he heard this result, Ma Zai was very unhappy. Huang Shu laughed wildly. He arrogantly walked up the stage and said, "Ma Zai, we are all good friends. It's not good to fight and kill." That was why he was so arrogant. But so what? Since this Huang Shu dares to provoke me, not to mention that he has the backing of a true disciple, even if he has the backing of a holy master, I will still beat him up. Yi Fei did not take Lin Sen's reminder to heart. A sword would rather break than bend. No matter how strong the backing was, it would not be able to suppress his backbone. Just as Yi Fei was thinking about it, on the stage, the clan elder was extremely helpless. He announced Huang Shu's victory and was about to call for the next group to start the competition. Just then, Huang Shu did not have the intention to walk down the stage. Instead, he impolitely interrupted the clan elder. "Wait, I still have something to say. Huang Shu, you have already won. What else do you have to say?" The clan elder said in annoyance. It was obvious that he did not like Huang Shu, who was a spoiled brat. Huang Shu glanced at the clan elder coldly. Suddenly, he arrogantly pointed at Yi Fei, then at Shifeng, and then at the 10th prince, Yan Bei, Qi Chu Chu, Lin Sin and Yang Xiao. "Every time, the Mountain River list fights one-on-one. It's too boring. All of you, come up and fight with me. That way, whoever can stay on the stage till the end will be the number one on the Mountain River list." The entire place was in an uproar. Even many of the elders in the elder seating area were shocked by Huang Xie's words. Feeling everyone's gazes, Huang Xie was filled with delight, feeling that he had never been so glorious before. To challenge all the experts in the Mountain River list alone, how glorious was that! Chapter 288. King's Edge. Compared to Huang Xie's delight, the disciples and elders present all felt that it was inconceivable. After all, Huang Xie was a standard second-generation young master. If not for him having a good sister, he would not have been able to enter the top 20 of the Mountain River list with Huang Xie's strength. Now that Huang Xie had become so daring, to challenge the top 20 experts of the Mountain River list alone, it was either that Huang Xie's brain was damaged, or that Huang Xie had some special backing. "Huang Shu, how dare you? With your strength, I, Shangguan Lu, can take care of you with just one hand." Shangguan Lu, who had once suffered a huge loss, was the first to rush up the stage angrily. Huang Shi revealed a look of disdain, and shook his head. "Loser, you do not have the qualifications to speak to me. Huang Shi, call your master, the 10th prince, up here. That pervert Jing Wushou is not back yet, so let's defeat him first. The rank 2 of the Mountain River list is the same." "You." Shangguan Lu was so angry that her face turned black. Many of the disciples and elders present were shocked. Did they hear wrongly? When did Huang Xie become so courageous? Not only did he insult Shangguan Lu as the 10th prince's dog, he even wanted to challenge the 10th prince directly. "This Huang Xie seems to be serious," Yi Fei said with a strange expression. "He truly has guts. With that bit of strength, he dares to provoke the 10th prince who is ranked 2nd on the Mountain River list." Yang Xiao said gloomily. He was different from Huang Xiu. The 10th prince was ranked 2nd on the Mountain River list, and deserved it. In the entire inner sect, other than Jing Wushou, who was always fighting outside, the 10th prince was the strongest. Of course, the 10th prince would not remain indifferent after being provoked. Silently, he appeared in the arena. He stared at Huang Shu and said, "Huang Shu, you dare to challenge this prince?" "Wrong. Not only do I want to challenge you, I want to challenge everyone here. This time, the first place of the Mountain River list is destined to belong to me, Huang Xie. Yi Fei, Shifeng, Yan Bei, Yang Xiao, Lin Sin, all of you trash, what are you waiting for? If you are afraid of Grandpa Huang Xie, immediately admit defeat, and you will still be able to make it in time." Not only did Huang Shu challenge the 10th prince, he also called out all the opponents he needed to pay attention to. When he called out Yi Fei, Huang Shu's eyes looked like they were about to spit fire. "Of course, Yi Fei, you're an exception. You don't have the right to surrender. There's only one ending for you, and that is to stand in the arena and be beaten like a dog by me, Huang Xie." "Ha ha ha ha." Huang Xie laughed wildly. He had a fearless and arrogant expression. Yi Fei's expression immediately turned cold. However, he didn't act rashly. Huang Xie's behavior was very abnormal. It wasn't that Huang Xie was crazy. It was that he had some sort of trump card. Only Yi Fei was able to maintain his calm. His ambitions were extremely high. Yen Bei, who was also determined to obtain the Mountain River list, was already completely enraged. Huang Shu, who do you think you are? How dare you challenge me? Boom! Without unsheathing his blade, the astonishing blade intent had already caused the blades in the hands of countless disciples to vibrate intensely and fly out. Even a portion of the elders' blades were not an exception. All of them were attracted to Yen Bei's side and formed a pontoon blade bridge in the air. Yen Bei's face was filled with killing intent. He stepped onto the pontoon blade bridge and appeared in the middle of the arena. Together with the 10th prince, they surrounded Huang Shu. Pontoon blade bridge, 40% blade intent? Yen Bei, in this Mountain River list competition, you will be my formidable opponent. The 10th prince's fighting intent soared. He didn't even look at Huang Shu and only focused on Yen Bei, who was behind him. The same astonishing blade intent surfaced from the 10th prince's body. The 10th prince said, I also use a blade. In Tai Xian's sacred lands, there can only be one person who uses a blade. That person will definitely be me. Yen Bei's gaze was like a blade. His aura was like a blade as he stared intently at the 10th prince. The two blade intents, separated by Huang Shu, faced each other. Huang Shu was enraged and shouted, What number one? I, Huang Shu, am the number one. The two of you dare to treat me as if I don't exist. Now I will let you know the consequences of offending me. Boom! A burst of astonishing spiritual qi rippled out from Huang Shu's body. No, more accurately, it came from Huang Shu's right hand. In his hand there was a golden sword. The moment the sword appeared, its astonishing aura dissipated the 10th prince and Yen Bei's 40% blade intense. Seeing the sword, Yi Fei's eyelids twitched. Damn, a top-grade treasure-ranked golden sword. No wonder Huang Shu is so confident and dares to challenge all the experts here. Such a good sword, even a martial honorable could not block it. For it to land in Huang Shu's hands, it's like throwing a sword in the dark. Yi Fei then understood the reason why Huang Shu dared to challenge everyone. Seeing the golden sword, half of the Mountain River list experts could not help but curse. This Huang Shu is truly despicable. He actually borrowed Nan Ruofeng's golden sword. How are we going to fight like this? What? That's Nan Ruofeng's famous golden sword. I heard that this sword had killed 10 10th level martial honorable experts. Senior brother Nan thought it was ominous and threw it away. There were some disciples who knew the inside story and recognized the sword. The 10th prince and Yen Bei's faces became extremely ugly. Yi Fei was also instantly speechless. Such a treasure sword was something that could only be chanced upon and not sought. Even he was envious of it. But in the end, Nan Ruofeng had abandoned it just because its killing intent was too heavy. True disciples were truly rich and overbearing. Ha ha ha, how is it, 10th Prince, Yen Bei, you two trash still dare to fight with me, Huang Shu, for the number one position in the Mountain River list? If you know what's good for you, the two of you will immediately admit defeat. Don't force me to take action. Huang Shu waved the golden sword. A terrifying whistling sound cut through the air. It could be seen how powerful the sword was. The 10th Prince and Yen Bei were gloomy. On the spectator's stand, the red-robed elder's face turned black. Huang Shu, I can pretend that I did not see you messing around in the inner sect. But in the competition for the Mountain River list, you dare to be so impudent. Who allowed you to take out the golden sword? Such a powerful killing weapon undoubtedly affected the fairness of the competition. The red-robed elder would definitely not allow Huang Shu to use it. Understanding the clan elder's meaning, all of the Mountain River list disciples heaved a sigh of relief. Huang Shu was not convinced and continued to brandish his gold sword. Clan Elder Red Lotus, I am not being impudent. This gold sword was personally approved by my brother-in-law for me to use in the competition. Impudent. Nan Ruofeng left the sacred land 3 years ago to travel to the 18 countries in the North Sea. Do you think I am stupid? It would have been better if Huang Shu did not say that. Hearing that, Elder Red Lotus wanted to teach Huang Shu a lesson. Rumble. The small world that Tai Xian's sacred lands was in actually trembled slightly. Elder Red Lotus, who was previously furious, instantly changed his face. Over 100 black-robed elders looked up in shock. Who is it that dares to attack my Tai Xian's sacred lands, small world? Could it be that the sect leader of the Tian cult is here personally? Rumble. Another loud sound came out. Under the fearful gazes of countless elders, the small world of the sacred lands was actually torn apart by someone. Chapter 289. Martial King Might, it's Nan Ruofeng, it's really Nan Ruofeng. What, Senior Brother Nan has been training for 3 years, and is finally back. Hello Senior Brother Nan, long live Senior Brother Nan. Seeing the man who tore through the void and released a dazzling light aura, almost half of the inner sect disciples raised their heads and looked at Nan Ruofeng with reverence in their eyes. Huang Shu laughed out loud. He put down his gold sword and waved towards Nan Ruofeng. Brother-in-law, you are finally back. I will definitely get first place in the competition for the Mountain River list. Very good. I remember that the first place of the Mountain River list has been empty for 7 years. This time, someone should be able to take it. Nan Ruofeng nodded his head indifferently at Huang Shu. But his words had already caused many of the clan elders' faces to change. They knew that Nan Ruofeng's strong return was most probably for the Mountain River list. As for why Nan Ruofeng, who had already become a true disciple, would suddenly care about the competition for the Mountain River list, it was simple. In the sacred grounds, the inner sect was the core. Whoever controlled the inner sect would have the biggest say in the sacred grounds. Of course, Yi Fei and the other disciples did not know about the competition between the upper echelons. Yi Fei only asked Yang Xiao curiously, "The first place of the Mountain River list has been empty for 7 years. What's going on? Isn't it because of that pervert Jing Wushou? He is clearly a 4th or 5th level martial revered expert, but he still refuses to become a true disciple. As long as he is in the inner sect, no one dares to fight with him for the first place, so even if Jing Wushou does not return to participate in the competition every year, he is still publicly recognized as the uncrowned king." Yang Xiao said gloomily. Everyone in the inner sect was envious of the 100,000 contribution points, and only Jing Wushou dared to not participate in the competition, and was so thick-skinned to receive the white-collar reward every year. Yi Fei also broke out in cold sweat when he heard that. He was still curious. The second-ranked 10th prince had appeared, but the first place was still empty, so that was the reason. Seems like Jing Wushou is not interested in participating in this year's Mountain River list. Lin Sun quietly added. That's not necessarily true. Yi Fei smiled. Jing Wushou had said that he would definitely return for this year's inner sect competition. Yi Fei also believed that Jing Wushou would definitely do what he said. Just as the disciples were discussing, Nan Ruofeng had already arrived at the clan elder's seat and directly sat at Red Lotus clan elder's seat. It was obvious that he wanted to replace Red Lotus clan elder to personally host the Mountain River list competition. This caused many of the Mountain River list experts who worshipped Nan Ruofeng to become excited. Yi Fei secretly observed and realized that of the top 20 experts, more than 70% of them were looking at Nan Ruofeng excitedly. Nan Ruofeng, what's wrong with you? It's fine that you tore apart my sacred land's small world. Don't tell me you want to replace this old man and take charge of the Mountain River list? Nan Ruofeng's return was already very powerful. Now, he had directly taken over the position of chief elder. Elder Red Lotus felt that this was a slap to his face. Why can't I? I feel that the rules of the Mountain River list in the past are too simple and crude, and are no longer suitable for the current situation. I hope that Clan Elder will allow me to set up new rules, and make the mountain river list more interesting. Nan Ruo Feng spoke gently, with a gentlemanly demeanor. Just that when he spoke, Nan Ruo Feng still took over Red Lotus Clan Elder's seat. His tone sounded like he was discussing, but it was filled with an unquestionable hint. Obviously, Nan Ruo Feng was not seeking the clan elder's opinion. If he wanted to change the rules, then the rules of the mountain river list had to be changed according to his wishes. There was no room for discussion for anyone. All the clan elders were shocked. Red Lotus Clan Elder's face was filled with anger, and said angrily, Nan Ruo Feng, you do not have the authority, don't forget, you are just a true disciple, your authority is below the red-robed clan elder. None of the clan elders objected, only Red Lotus Clan Elder objected. In Nan Ruo Feng's eyes, a look of cold arrogance flashed past, and his tone turned cold. Who says I do not have the authority? Also, I am not a true disciple now, but the only true disciple of the sacred land. Bang! Nan Ruo Feng, who was seated, suddenly released an astonishing qi that was as heavy as a mountain. Under this qi, all the clan elders who were seated, all revealed looks of shock, their bodies uncontrollably bending down. All the disciples who were spectating, regardless of whether it was the outer or inner sect disciples, regardless of whether it was martial master or martial great lord, all felt their bodies becoming heavy, as though they were carrying a gigantic mountain. Plop, plop. Sounds of people kneeling down could be heard everywhere, including many of the experts of the mountain river list. Yi Fei also felt that the pressure around him had become extremely heavy, and even breathing had become difficult. He could only frantically activate the Devil Emperor Sutra to barely dispel the sudden terrifying pressure. After that, Yi Fei turned to look at the rest, and realized that other than himself, only the 10th prince, Yan Bei and Shi Feng could barely stand. The rest, including Lin Sun and Yang Xiao, had no choice but to bend down, one knee trembling as they kneeled on the ground. Was this Nan Ruo Feng's power? Just by releasing his qi, he was able to suppress all the disciples present? At this time, Yi Fei suddenly understood why the arrogant Lin Sun, when mentioning Nan Ruo Feng, would call him an ant. In truth, Nan Ruo Feng was too strong. The qi that he released was even stronger than the 10th level martial Honorable Elder Red Lotus. Martial King, Nan Ruo Feng, you actually broke through to Martial King. Elder Red Lotus shouted in shock. Martial King? All the disciples' hearts trembled fiercely. Yi Fei also raised his head and looked at Nan Ruo Feng in shock. This young man was obviously not much older than the people present, but his cultivation realm was too terrifying, to the point that Yi Fei felt powerless. There is actually a disciple who is not affected by my Martial King Qi? As though he had noticed Yi Fei's gaze, Nan Ruo Feng exclaimed in admiration, but in his eyes a cold aura flashed past. To Nan Ruo Feng, the disciples of the sacred lands could only do two things when facing him. Kneel down, then submit. But now there was actually a disciple who was able to stand and resist his qi. Nan Ruo Feng would not allow it. He immediately harumphed coldly and increased the pressure of his Martial King qi. Plop, plop. Yan Bei and Shi Feng were finally unable to withstand the pressure and were forced to kneel down in humiliation. Then, the 10th prince also let out a groan and helplessly knelt down with one knee on the ground. Only Yi Fei was still bitterly holding on. He did not know why he was holding on and not kneeling, but Yi Fei only had one thought in his mind: no matter what, he could not kneel. If he kneeled at this time, it would mean that he would never be able to raise his head and face Nan Ruo Feng again. Hold on, you must hold on. Yi Fei clenched his teeth so hard that a cracking sound could be heard. Unfortunately, under the terrifying pressure of the martial emperor realm, he could feel his body slowly bending toward the ground. Am I going to kneel? Yi Fei was extremely unwilling. He would rather break his own legs than allow himself to kneel in front of Nan Ruo Feng. Interesting. Nan Ruo Feng laughed, but it was a mocking laugh when seeing an ant resisting stubbornly. Nan Ruofeng immediately decided to completely unleash his martial king qi. Even a martial highness would not be able to resist that kind of pressure. He did not believe that a mere martial ancestor realm disciple would be able to withstand it. Chapter 290. Swordsman's Edge. As Yi Fei felt that he could no longer withstand the pressure of the martial emperor realm, a figure appeared before him in an instant. Following this, a terrifying sword glow formed a sword ripple that spread out in all directions. Everyone who was within the range of the sword ripple could feel the pressure on their bodies being relieved. Roar! The 10th prince was the first to stand up. His expression was extremely ugly as he glared at Nan Ruofeng. Just now, he had been forced to kneel before Nan Ruofeng on one knee. This had greatly affected his martial heart. An emperor should reign supreme over the world. But just now, Nan Ruofeng had forced him to kneel. Roar! Roar! Shi Feng and Yan Bei roared furiously. They couldn't accept this. Only true powerhouses could sense how humiliating Nan Ruofeng's actions were to them. Just by relying on the might of a martial king, Nan Ruofeng almost caught all the experts of the Mountain River list in one fell swoop, severely damaging their martial hearts. After all, every cultivator was an indomitable spirit. If they yielded to Nan Ruofeng's aura today, then for the next 10 years, or even longer, they would have an enormous shadow in their hearts towards Nan Ruofeng. Fortunately, at this moment, Jing Wushou appeared and used his sword intent to force back Nan Ruofeng's martial king aura. Many thanks, Jing Wushou. The 10th prince had a complicated expression on his face as he looked at Jing Wushou. Yan Bei and Shi Feng were no exception. Jing Wushou didn't say anything. He immediately released an even stronger sword intent. Sword ripples immediately covered the entire martial arts practice field. Immediately after, they moved towards Nan Ruofeng. It really is Jing Wushou, that pervert. Didn't he not participate in the Mountain River List competition in the past? He actually came back this time. What is Jing Wushou doing? Could it be that he wants to go against senior brother Nan? Even more people stood up and looked at Jing Wushou with astonishment. Then, they looked at the gloomy Nan Ruofeng who was sitting in the elder's seat. Nan Ruofeng was calm and collected. There was no joy or sorrow on his face. He was quite calm. However, when he saw Jing Wushou release his sword intent, a hint of anger flashed through his eyes. Jing Wushou, are you going against me? Don't tell me you are also interested in the Mountain River List? This doesn't seem like your style. Nan Ruofeng asked somewhat strangely. I don't care about the Mountain River List. You guys can do whatever you want, but if you want to bully my sword peak, then I will not allow it. Jing Wushou said coldly, facing Nan Ruofeng's martial king aura. He did not back down. 10th level martial honored realm. Jing Wushou, you have broken through to the 10th level of the martial honorable realm. Finally, Red Lotus Elder realized that something was wrong. Jing Wushou's sword ripple was extremely powerful. Even he was shocked when he saw it. What? 10th level martial honorable? Jing Wushou's cultivation level also shocked all the disciples and elders present. Jing Wushou is a freak. When I saw him a year ago, he was only a rank 7 martial honorable. In less than a year, he is already a rank 10 martial honorable. Sigh. Yang Xiao sighed and stood up again. But thanks to him, we did not completely kneel down to Nan Ruofeng. Lin Sen's face was cold. But even so, Yi Fei realized that other than himself, the only people who were not affected by Nan Ruofeng were the 10th prince, Yan Bei, Shi Feng, Qi Chuchu, Zhao Yu, Lin Sen and Yang Xiao, these 8 people. The rest of the people were either willing or forced to submit to Nan Ruofeng. As long as the influence was not removed, they would forever be traumatized by Nan Ruofeng. It had to be said that this direct disciple's methods were truly tyrannical. Then, Yi Fei looked worriedly at Luo Shi and Wang Bai. In the end, after sweeping his gaze across the crowd, Yi Fei realized that Luo Shi and Wang Bai were gone. Didn't that mean that when Nan Ruofeng released his aura, the two of them were not present? But before Yi Fei could think further, suddenly, a gaze that made him fearful looked at him. It was Nan Ruofeng's gaze. "You are from Sword Peak? 10th level martial ancestor realm, Earth grade 6 Dantian quality. There doesn't seem to be anything special about it." Nan Ruofeng revealed a look of suspicion. To him, other than Yi Fei's talent being passable, he was completely unworthy of his attention. What, Earth grade 6? The clan elders were all shocked, their gazes towards Yi Fei became strange. One must know, when Yi Fei had just joined the inner sect, he was clearly in the Earth grade 1, how did he suddenly become a Earth grade 6 place? Noticing the fiery gazes of the surrounding clan elders, Jing Wushou snorted, as though he was warning the clan elders that Yi Fei was from Sword Peak, and they had better not have any ideas. Yi Fei could not help but laugh bitterly. He understood that he could no longer separate himself from Sword Peak. Since he could not separate himself from it, he did not reject it, and straightforwardly admitted, "I am from Sword Peak." "Haha, very good, junior brother, you have finally thought it through. I will also participate in the Mountain River List competition this time, and at the same time I will also take a look at your growth." Jing Wushou was extremely happy, and pulled Yi Fei up to the stage to spar. Seeing that, Huang Shu's face turned green, even if he had a top-grade treasure, but against the 10th level martial ancestor Jing Wushou, he reckoned that Jing Wushou could kill him with one slap. Huang Shu immediately looked at Nan Ruofeng with pleading eyes. Nan Ruofeng's face flashed a gloomy look. He finally could not take it anymore and stood up. "Jing Wushou, 7 years ago, you should have become a true disciple. Now that you are participating in the Mountain River List competition as a 10th level martial ancestor, don't you feel that it is too unfair? Unfair? Don't tell me that lending your gold sword to Huang Shu is fair?" Jing Wushou stopped in his tracks and stared coldly at Nan Ruofeng. Nan Ruofeng shook his head indifferently. The Mountain River List does not have a rule that disciples cannot use top-grade treasures. Jing Wushou laughed. The Mountain River List also does not have a rule that a 10th level martial ancestor cannot participate in the competition. As long as I am still an inner sect disciple, I have the qualifications to participate. Both of you, please calm down. There were already clan elders who could not take the fight between Nan Ruofeng and Jing Wushou, and carefully stood up, preparing to mediate. After all, the two of them were the most outstanding disciples of Tai Xian's sacred land. Looking deeply at Jing Wushou, Nan Ruofeng thought for a while, then suddenly laughed. He sat down again and said, "Jing Wushou, you still haven't changed. It's a pity that you have changed. I changed because I want to become stronger. As a direct disciple, I also have the authority to set the rules of the Mountain River List. Now, I will not allow you to participate. Of course, I will also take back the gold sword that I gave to Huang Shu. What do you think?" For the first time, Nan Ruofeng used a negotiating tone. And before that, Yi Fei had personally witnessed how Nan Ruofeng did not even look at Elder Red Lotus, who was also a 10th level martial ancestor. This is strength. Only with strength can you obtain respect. Without strength, you are destined to be stepped on like an ant. Chapter 291. A single strand of hair with Jing Wushou's strength. Even someone as strong as Nan Ruofeng had to take him into consideration. Seeing that the might of a martial king was unable to suppress Jing Wushou, Nan Ruofeng quickly brought out his identity as a direct disciple. Jing Wushou's face changed. "Junior brother, seems like I am unable to personally witness your strength this time." Helplessly shaking his head at Yi Fei, Jing Wushou had no choice but to give up on the idea of going up the stage, and nodded at Nan Ruofeng. "All right, keep your gold sword, I will not go up the stage." "Sure. Huang Shu, in the next round, you are not allowed to use your gold sword." Nan Ruofeng said indifferently. Huang Shu's face instantly turned as ugly as a pig's liver. Why did he dare to challenge all the experts of the Mountain River list alone, and even wanted the 10th prince, Yan Bei, Shi Feng and Yi Fei to go up together? What Huang Xie relied on was his supreme-grade artifact, the gold sword. Without it, Huang Xie would be nothing. On the stage, the 10th prince and Yan Bei sneered at Huang Shu. They did not dare to fight with Nan Ruofeng, but against the second-generation Huang Shu, they were too lazy to even use their blade intent, and could beat Huang Shu to a pulp. "Brother-in-law, save me!" Huang Shu, who was on the stage, was so scared that he was about to cry. But no one pitied him. Nan Ruofeng's performance was too tyrannical, as though he was insulting all the experts of the Mountain River list. Forget about the 10th prince and Yan Bei wanting to teach Huang Shu a lesson. Even Yi Fei was considering whether to go up and join in the fun, and teach Huang Shu a lesson. Just then, Nan Ruofeng spoke again. Wait. It was just 2 words, but it was enough to intimidate the 10th prince and Yan Bei, who did not dare to make a move, and could only suppress their anger and stare at Nan Ruofeng. As though he could feel their anger, Nan Ruofeng laughed. It was a type of arrogance, as though he was looking at ants with disdain. "My 2 junior brothers, seems like you are still not convinced by me, Nan Ruofeng. Fine, I will give you a chance to vent your anger. All the top 20 disciples of the Mountain River list, go up the stage. Those who do not go up will automatically lose the qualifications to compete." "Yes, senior brother Nan." More than 70% of the disciples rushed into the arena with reverence. "A bunch of slaves." Yang Xiao scolded very unhappily. "The situation is stronger than the person. Every strong person will experience a time when they are weak." Yi Fei was quite open-minded and quickly walked up to the arena. Then Lin Xin, Yang Xiao, and Zhao Yu came up. The 4 of them stood together and looked after each other. Qi Chuchu stood with the 10th prince, Yan Bei, and Shi Feng. Shangguan Lu also stood firmly beside the 10th prince, forming another group. Of course, the ones with the most people were still Ma Zai and Huang Shu's side. The rest of the people were all gathered there. At the same time, they were also Nan Ruofeng's admirers. "Nan Ruofeng, exactly what are you planning to do?" At this moment, even Elder Honglian was unable to understand Nan Ruofeng's intention. A look of arrogance flashed past Nan Ruofeng's eyes, and he said, "Nothing much, I just feel that the Mountain River list competition over the years is too boring. It is rare for me to come back, so let me, the eldest senior brother, personally test their strength." "Nan Ruofeng, you want to personally take action?" A look of anger flashed past Jing Wushou's face. "No, there is no one here who is worthy of me personally taking action, including you, Jing Wushou." Nan Ruofeng's tone was indifferent. This was his pride as a martial king. Although Jing Wushou was angry, he was unable to refute. The current him was still too far away from Nan Ruofeng. "In that case, Nan Ruofeng, you mean to say..." Elder Honglian's tone had already become cautious. Nan Ruofeng had broken through to martial king and become a personal disciple. This meant that Nan Ruofeng would be the next holy master. Other than the holy master and a few great clan elders who were in closed cultivation in the sacred land, no one could stop Nan Ruofeng. A look of disdain flashed past Nan Ruofeng's eyes as he spoke. "This time, when I went out to train, I had the chance to kill a heavenly demon and learned a special divine ability. Junior brothers, next, I will use a 10th level martial ancestor realm incarnation to fight with all of you. All of you can surround and attack my incarnation, and the first one to be thrown out by me will be ranked 20th, then 19th, 18th, and the one who can last the longest will be ranked 1st. Do you have any objections?" "Senior brother Nan, we have no objections." Huang Shu and the group of people naturally cheered loudly. Lin Xin and Yang Zhao's faces were filled with anger. Yi Fei was also speechless. Nan Ruofeng's actions seemed to be fair, but secretly, Nan Ruofeng could completely rely on his own strength to decide everyone's ranking. But Yi Fei did not object, and neither did the 10th Prince's side. Nan Ruofeng did not even have the intention to ask for other people's opinions. With that said, Nan Ruofeng had already stood up, and in front of everyone, he plucked out a strand of hair and lightly threw it onto the stage. "Junior brothers, you can all begin, you can all join hands, or you can all attack each other. Whoever can last till the end under my strand of hair will be ranked first in the Mountain River list." Bang! Nan Ruofeng's actions shocked everyone. He actually wanted the strongest Mountain River list experts to fight with a strand of hair. Humiliation! Not only Yi Fei felt it, all the martial artists who had the courage to become strong could not accept such humiliation. The 10th Prince was the first to be enraged. He took a big step forward and walked towards the strand of hair. "It's just a strand of hair, watch this, Prince, crush it into pieces." Bang! Yan Bei did not say anything. His 40% blade intent sliced through the wind and clouds, and took the lead to slash towards the strand of hair. Without waiting for it to land, he wanted to crush the strand of hair. Lin! Nan Ruofeng was expressionless after throwing down the strand of hair. He did not even look at the battle on stage, and returned to his seat, chatting with the group of black-robed elders who were trying to curry favor with him. And the strand of hair that floated down suddenly released an intense gold light, and a gold figure that was 80% similar to Nan Ruofeng appeared from the strand of hair. He extended out his finger, and aimed at the blade intent that was shooting over, and lightly tapped. Bang! The 40% blade intent instantly shattered, and the finger pierced through the air, and lightly tapped on Yan Bei's body. "What?" Yan Bei screamed out. His shoulder was already pierced by the finger, and a bloody hole appeared. He was almost blown out of the stage. "Oh my God! That's a strand of hair! Senior brother Nan is too strong." It was just a strand of hair, and it was able to heavily injure Yan Bei, one of the strongest dark horses in the Mountain River list. Nan Ruofeng's methods undoubtedly shocked everyone present. On the stage, many of the Mountain River list experts were dumbstruck. Nan Ruofeng's strand of hair was still unsatisfied, and stared coldly at Yan Bei. "Seeing that you are Master Crazy Blade's disciple, I will not make things difficult for you, and allow you to enter the top 10 in the inner sect." Chapter 292. The top 10 were defeated. Berserker Blade Technique. One blade cleaves Cloud Road. Shocking murderous intent and broadsword will intertwined. Yan Bei ignored his injuries and charged forward furiously. Many disciples who used broadswords felt their broadswords tremble in anger. Then, they soared into the sky. Together with Yan Bei's Yenling broadsword, they cut through the clouds and the void. This was Yan Bei's blade. Blade intent and blade body allowed Yan Bei's comprehension of the blade to reach a height that people of the same age could not reach. Of course, it did not mean that no one could reach Yan Bei's level. For example, the 10th Prince. Seeing Yan Bei unsheathe his blade and Nan Ruofeng's incarnation, the 10th Prince was shocked and immediately decided on something. "Yan Bei, Shifeng, Qi Chuchu, with the three of us working together, I don't believe that the four of us won't be able to deal with a mere 10th-layer martial ancestor realm cultivator's clone. Shangguan Lu, keep an eye on the others. Do not let anyone disturb us." Yes, 10th Prince. Shangguan Lu was extremely loyal to the 10th Prince. This was also because the Shangguan family was a super-aristocratic family in Tai Wu country. Hearing the 10th Prince's order, Shangguan Lu unsheathed his sword. He was already vigilantly watching everyone. At this time, the 10th Prince also moved. 8 Desolation Bloody Battle. The 10th Prince unsheathed his blade. In an instant, the blade turned into a torrential blood river. It dyed the ground and the sky red. The 10th Prince stood in the middle of the blood river. Like a bloodthirsty Azura, he waved his blade crazily. The terrifying blade Qi almost covered half of the stage. A few disciples who were close to him were not careful and were injured by the blade Qi. They spat out blood and helplessly flew out of the stage. No one expected the 10th prince's blade Qi to be so strong. His killing intent was also so terrifying. Even Ma Zai's face changed. He pulled Huang Shu and the group of people quickly dodged to the side. The 10th prince is going all out. Let's not be affected. Ma Zai looked at the 10th prince fearfully. Huang Shu was indifferent. He raised his head proudly. What are you afraid of? My brother-in-law's incarnation is here. Who can stop him? The number 1 of the mountain river list will belong to me, Huang Shu. But you, Yi Fei, you actually met me on the stage. I will not let you off. What are you waiting for? Didn't you hear young Master Huang Xie's words? This Yi Fei offending young Master Huang Xie is the same as offending senior brother Nan Ruofeng. As long as we teach this person a lesson, we will definitely gain the favor of senior brother Nan Ruofeng. Ma Zai laughed heartily and took the lead to charge towards Yi Fei. Tian 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 Tian. Shu Tian 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 and Tian 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 and Tian 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 Tian. Huang Shu was very satisfied with Ma Zai's tactfulness. At this time, he no longer treated Ma Zai as a friend, but as a follower. Ma Zai, you did very well. I will recommend you to my brother-in-law. Now, take your men and teach this Yi Fei a lesson. Except for Princess Zhao Yu, you can't hurt her. As for the other 3, beat them up. Break their arms and legs and make them kneel in front of me like dogs. Yes, young Master Huang Xie. Ma Zai replied loudly, and immediately brought 10 mountain river list experts, sneering as they approached Yi Fei. Looking at Ma Zai's lackey face, Yi Fei secretly shook his head and said in a low voice, Ma Zai, to think that you're one of the top 3 inner sect experts. You don't even understand the principle of better to be a beggar than a slave. A person like you, no matter how talented you are, will be despised by others. Shut up, Yi Fei. You're about to die, yet you still dare to be so stubborn. Now, are you going to kneel on your own, or do you want us to beat you until you kneel? Ma Zai said with a sinister smile. It was Yi Fei who had chased him out of the auction and cut off his biggest source of income. Ma Zai had long wanted to take revenge, and now was the best opportunity. All of you attack. Ma Zai instructed the surrounding mountain river list experts. All of the disciples were experts in the top 20 of the mountain river list. At this moment, many people joined forces again. Even though they knew that Yi Fei's strength was extremely terrifying, no one retreated. Instead, they all used their strongest strength and charged forward. Courting death. Lin Sen and Yang Xiao were enraged at the same time. Zhao Yu's jet black hair once again became the color of flames. Yi Fei's face darkened and suddenly turned to the people behind him and said, "Leave these lackeys to me. You guys go and deal with Ma Zai and Huang Xie." Alright. Lin Sen and Yang Xiao knew how terrifying Yi Fei's strength was. The 2 of them were not worried. Lin Sen was in front while Yang Xiao was behind, and the 2 of them rushed towards Ma Zai. Zhao Yu did not hesitate either. Behind her back, a pair of fire and ice wings suddenly appeared. She flew into the air and rushed towards Huang Xie, who was hiding at the back of the crowd. Just at this moment, Yi Fei had already rushed into the crowd. The battle demon golden body was instantly activated. Being in the 10th level of the martial ancestor realm, it allowed Yi Fei's Devil Emperor Sutra's might to increase by another level. When the 7 killing fists was unleashed, it allowed Yi Fei to transform into a terrifying ancient war demon. He ignored all of the attacks from the surrounding disciples. Instead, every time Yi Fei released a fist, a mountain river list disciple would be injured and spit out blood. They would be smashed out of the stage by Yi Fei and lose the qualifications to continue participating in the competition. This person actually joined Sword Peak and did not use a sword. Nan Ruofeng's incarnation glanced at Yi Fei, seemingly surprised. Just as the incarnation was stunned, the 10th Prince and Yen Bei's blade intent had already shattered Nan Ruofeng's true essence divine qi. One after the other, the same terrifying blade aura landed on Nan Ruofeng's body. But Nan Ruofeng was not afraid and only sneered. 2 fingers suddenly pointed out. Even though they were launched later, they reached first and consecutively pointed at the 2 blade auras. The 10th Prince and Nan Ruofeng felt as though they were struck by lightning. The qi in their bodies was actually shattered by Nan Ruofeng's seemingly ordinary 2 fingers. Just at this moment, another attack suddenly came from the sky. Qi Chuchu was as light as a butterfly. Without a sound, she had already appeared above Nan Ruofeng's head. A gigantic fist image brought along a terrifying true essence vortex. Like a drill, it fiercely smashed onto Nan Ruofeng's incarnation's head. If it was anyone else, even if they were a martial honorable expert, they would instantly lose their life after meeting the terrifying attacks of the 3 of them. But Nan Ruofeng's incarnation actually laughed. It was a confident and mocking sneer. Interesting, the 3 of you are indeed powerful. But since you are not willing to be used by me, then there will be no place for you in the top 10 of the Mountain River list. Obviously, Nan Ruofeng's interference in the Mountain River list was not on a whim, but a plan. Since the 10th Prince and the rest were not willing to submit to him, Nan Ruofeng would definitely not give them the chance to continue growing. Bang! The moment the protective true essence divine qi broke, Nan Ruofeng's body suddenly released a berserk energy that was like a tsunami. With Nan Ruofeng as the center, the terrifying true essence formed a wave that continuously spread out to the surroundings of the stage. Yen Bei, the 10th Prince and Qi Chuchu immediately felt their bodies going out of control. They were pushed out of the stage by the berserk qi wave. Chapter 293. A close call, however. Nan Ruofeng had forgotten one thing. On the 10th Prince's side, there were not only 3 great experts. There was also Shi Feng, who had yet to make a move. At this critical moment, Shi Feng made his move. The stone locks filled the air and formed an iron gate, blocking the river. At this moment, the quintessence waves spreading in all directions were all blocked by the stone lock. Of course, Shi Feng also paid a great price. Blood spurted out from his nose and ears. He had almost single-handedly withstood the damage of Nan Ruofeng's true essence wave. Bang! The first stone lock instantly exploded, followed by the second, the third, and the fourth. Even Yi Fei had to use the great circle of the 7 killing fists in order to shatter the stone lock. Nan Ruofeng had only used a single strand of hair to condense an incarnation to shatter it. Evidently, even though Nan Ruofeng's clone's strength was only at the 10th level of the martial ancestor realm, the power it could unleash was even more terrifying than a martial exalted realm elder. Shi Feng, are you alright? At the same time, the 10th Prince, Yen Bei, and Qi Chuchu used Shi Feng as a shield to avoid being blasted out of the arena. Then, they immediately gathered around Shi Feng. Shi Feng's face was cold, and he suddenly pushed away the 10th Prince who was about to help him up. He shouted, "Don't worry about me, I can still fight. We can't compare to Nan Ruofeng, but could it be that we can't compare to a single strand of his hair? Yes, let's continue fighting. If we can't even defeat a single strand of hair, then what is the point of cultivating martial arts? What is the point of achieving the Tao?" Hearing Shi Feng's words, the 10th Prince and Yen Bei felt encouraged. Qi Chuchu pursed her red lips. Her delicate body exuded an extremely domineering and heroic aura. Kill. The 10th Prince followed closely behind, charging towards Nan Ruofeng. Kill. Yen Bei's broadsword will swept out. His entire body seemed to have transformed into a heavenly broadsword, slashing forward. Fight. Qi Chuchu's voice was gentle and beautiful, her fist technique was extremely ferocious, filled with boundless tyranny and destructive power. The 4 experts of the Mountain River list did not admit defeat, and once again rushed towards Nan Ruofeng. Interesting, let me see, you so-called Mountain River list experts, how much potential do you have, to dare not kneel to me? Nan Ruofeng's mouth had a trace of ridicule and coldness as he walked forward step by step. He ignored the 10th Prince's blade light and Yen Bei's sharpness. He stretched out his finger again and tapped lightly. He had already flicked away Chi Chuchu's tyrannical fist shadow. In the end, Nan Ruofeng's fist was aimed at the injured Shifeng, who was also the weakest. He punched out. That punch shattered space, and even a mountain peak could be shattered. The 10th Prince's expression changed. Yen Bei and Chi Chuchu's expressions also changed. They could not block this punch. The injured Shifeng could not block this punch. Could it be that Shifeng can't even enter the top 10 this time? Chi Chuchu's voice trembled. It was as if she could see Shifeng's fate, which was the same as theirs. Ah! Lin Sun, Yang Xiao, you 2 despicable bastards! Suddenly, Ma Zai's miserable shriek came from afar, startling the 10th Prince and the rest. It also caused Nan Ruofeng's fist to pause for a moment. He subconsciously looked towards the direction of the shriek. In the end, Nan Ruofeng saw a scene that surprised him. Lin Sun and Yang Xiao, who were originally martial ancestor 10th stage, actually burst forth with the strength of a half-step martial honorable while fighting Ma Zai together. Ma Zai was immediately at a disadvantage. He was jointly thrown out of the stage by Lin Sun and Yang Xiao, together with the few that were thrown out by Yi Fei. Ma Zai, who was originally ranked 3rd on the Mountain River list, did not even enter the top 10. He was actually ranked 14th. The disciples and elders present all looked at Ma Zai with strange expressions. Realizing this result, Ma Zai was so angry that he spat out a mouthful of blood. A half-step martial honorable actually dropped from 3rd to 14th. This caused Ma Zai to lose all his face. Nan Ruofeng also retracted his gaze and said indifferently, "This Ma Zai is truly disappointing. However, this kind of accident will not happen again. Shifeng, I will start with you." Rumble. Nan Ruofeng continued to wave his fist, intending to throw Shifeng out of the stage. Just at this moment, another miserable shriek came out, causing Nan Ruofeng to stop. "Brother-in-law, save me! This Zhao Yu wants to kill me!" Huang Shu was sweating profusely. He risked his life and ran towards Nan Ruofeng. Behind Huang Shu, there was a firebird that was spitting out flames. It was like a meteor that was chasing closely behind Huang Shu. Huang Shu did not even have the courage to fight with Zhao Yu. He could only cry and run towards Nan Ruofeng. Nan Ruofeng was instantly enraged. Ma Zai's unexpected elimination had already made Nan Ruofeng unhappy. Now, Huang Shu was actually being beaten by Zhao Yu to the point where he could not even retaliate. Nan Ruofeng could not tolerate this. Nan Ruofeng immediately changed the direction of his fist. His fist, which was originally aimed at Shifeng, suddenly smashed towards Huang Shu across the air. Cracks appeared in the space under Nan Ruofeng's fist, and it rapidly crashed into the firebird that was chasing after Huang Shu. Zhao Yu felt the space tremble. The firebird formed by the meteor shower had already been smashed into pieces by Nan Ruofeng's fist. Following that, Zhao Yu felt a shocking fist energy. It was like Mount Tai was about to crash into her body. Battle Demon Golden Body. Yi Fei understood that with Zhao Yu's strength, she would not be able to withstand an attack from Nan Ruofeng's clone. Yi Fei's expression turned serious. He spread his golden rock wings and swept past, knocking Zhao Yu to the side. "Zhao Yu, let's switch opponents. I'll deal with this Huang Shu." As Yi Fei spoke, he executed the 7 killing fists and faced Nan Ruofeng's fist energy head-on. Rumble, rumble, rumble. The perfect 7 killing fists was able to shatter space, much less an attack from a 10th-level martial ancestor realm cultivator. Nan Ruofeng's fist energy was immediately shattered by the terrifying killing intent of the 7 killing fists. Yi Fei, you're the one who spoiled my plans again. Mountain River List Rank 1 is destined to be mine. You guys will not have any chance, get out of the stage. Seeing that Yi Fei had actually shattered Nan Ruofeng's fist energy, Nan Ruofeng had already noticed him and would definitely protect him. Huang Shu's frightened expression suddenly became sinister. 8 true essence arms formed 8 bucket-like gigantic fist images, smashing onto Yi Fei's body. It had to be said, Huang Shu's timing was too good and too despicable. He did not attack previously, but waited for Yi Fei to help Zhao Yu block Nan Ruofeng's fist energy. When the golden body was already shattered, he suddenly attacked. If the 8 fists hit, even if Yi Fei did not die, he would be heavily injured. Zhao Yu, Lin Xin and Yang Zhao's faces all changed. But it was a pity that they were unable to stop it in time. They could only watch as Yi Fei shattered Nan Ruofeng's fist energy. Huang Shu's 8 true essence arms smashed onto Yi Fei's vitals. Finally, the terrifying true essence exploded. It caused the entire stage to tremble intensely. Huang Shu laughed with delight. Ha ha ha, Yi Fei, this is the result of going against me. This time, even if I don't kill you, I will make you lose a layer of skin. Rumble rumble. Just as Huang Shu was laughing, a golden figure, like a war demon, quickly rushed through the shattered space and suddenly appeared in front of Huang Shu. You're tuning in to the Phoenix Knights YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.